guest hosts in here, Mr. D. Moots Photography, David, Jeffrey Neville from Selective Imagery, and Paul Connors from his easy chair.
Lazy boy recliner.
All right, so I know everybody kind of got on me about if we're going to do photo reviews, let's do photo reviews. However, Paul Connors just came across this list. I'm going to let him explain how he came across it and where he got it from and everything else. I just thought it'd be fun to start with that real quick tonight because with everything that's going on with Canon and, basically telling all third parties to cease and desist. And I don't know the bottom of that yet either. So is it just autofocus lenses that they're making, or is it all lenses that they're making? So if you have some information about that, you can share it here in the chat, and we'll pick it up. But the deal that they brokered, they being Nikon with Tamron, looks pretty good. Of course, I'm not a third party lens shooter, but I know a lot of people are, and I just thought people would be interested in seeing what's coming from Tamron. Let me say hello to everybody that's in here. I've been watching the chat over there. Gustavo, RS, Timothy Brown, Long Rider, see you in there. Roy Bigsby, Mike Farwell, David Stewart's in here tonight. And anybody else, Millerhead, he's in here as well. So I know everybody's here for the photo review, but let's take just a few minutes. We'll take as long as you want in the chat, as long as you guys want to talk about the Tamron deal. Charles, I see you in there too. Good to see you, buddy. Greg Wilson. All right. Let me turn it over to Mr. Paul Connors so he can explain how he came across this lens. I'm going to try to pull it up on, hang on, give me just a second. We got Mr. Ron Pollard that just joined us. Ron, how are you?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Ron.
Evening.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, we could hear you, man.
I'm at my office, not at the studio office.
You're still breaking up, believe it or not.
Serious?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. What about now? Even now?
Yes, even now. But everything you said before, what about now, I didn't hear.
Okay.
Oh, man. Somebody hexed you. Somebody has a curse on you. And I didn't do it. Wasn't me.
All right, Ron, see if you can figure it out, man, and jump in here with us. Photo Me Ike's in the house with us as well. Good to see you, Ike, out on assignment or doing an engagement session. That's great, buddy. It's great to see a working photographer working. I don't know if you're interested in any of these Tamron lenses, but you can let us know if you've played with any of them on any other mount before. DAW7772 is in here. John Young is in here. I forgot to mention him earlier. So without further ado, let's jump over to Paul. Let Paul start down the path of how he came across this information, and then we'll open it up in the chat, and we'll go as long as you guys want to before we start the review. Paul, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Good to see everybody tonight, and I want to thank all of you who were kind enough to accept my apology last week. Getting right down to what I'm here for tonight. Several people I know, and I'm sure a lot of you know, that Canon went after Viltrox for allegedly reverse engineering their code and their software for the lenses on the RF mount. Nikon apparently has not done that. And quite to the contrary, what they've done is hooked up with Tamron. A lot of people were critical of Nikon because they did not have a real good path forward for their DX lenses for their Z-mount DX camera. I'm sorry, Z-mount DX cameras. So the vast majority of the lenses that are announced on the list that Chuck has posted in the description, which I provided to him, are DX mount lenses. Now, in the case of Tamron, what Nikon calls DX, Tamron calls VXD. So there are 15 lenses coming out above and beyond the already announced and what people suspected was the 28 to 75 f 2.8, which everybody thought was a rebadged Tamron for the full frame Z cameras. Although to this day, Nikon has not admitted that that lens is a Tamron lens, it would appear to be a somewhat silent confession that it is in fact a Tamron lens. One of the things that came out of the agreement is that Nikon understands that by dealing with Tamron and asking them to produce lenses for them in a wide variety of focal lengths and aperture capabilities, is that if they were to allow Tamron to manufacture them but rebadge them as Nikon lenses, the rebadging, rebranding would take far too long to allow the lenses to come to market. So what they basically decided between the two companies is that we're not going to have Tamron manufacture the lenses and camouflage them with Nikon branding and coverings for the actual workings of the lens. So they're basically turning over a certain percentage and a certain segment of their lens roadmap to Tamron and allowing Tamron to bring them out as Tamron rather than rebadged Nikon lenses. So there's again, the one lens that was officially announced was the 70 to 300 f4 to 5 4.5 to 6.3 as a full frame lens. Chuck, I think, mentioned this on one of his recent talks about how that particular lens doesn't necessarily hold a lot of fascination for him, but that was the first one that was admitted to be on this roadmap. Since that announcement was made, there are 15 more lenses. If you go to the description here for this live stream.
Well, I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to share my screen and pull it up. But how did you get this? So everybody understands we're not just making this up. This is
okay. Yeah, nobody's making this up, least of all me. I was at a camera store in New Jersey. I do a fair amount of business with. It's not one of the bigger camera stores. It's a camera store called Madison Photo Plus in Madison, New Jersey. And I went in there to talk to the owner because I had bought a Viltrox lens from him, to talk to him about, Canon basically shutting Viltrox down. As we got to talking, he said, "Have you seen the master list of the Tamron 2B Nikon lenses?" And I said, "No, I have not." And he then proceeded to print it out for me, and I provided that information to Chuck. In the process of doing that, a Tamron rep happened to walk into the store and walked out very quickly. I actually followed him out and I talked to him on the sidewalk, and he said, "This is kind of the list that we have now. We anticipate adding other lenses as requested or as needed, but we have permission to do this list as part of the roadmap." And again, when Chuck posts that listing, if you look at the total of 15 lenses, and I didn't necessarily retype the list in any particular order other than the order that I received the list in, it's basically geared toward, of the 15 lenses, more of the 15 are DX lenses than are FX lenses. So whether or not Nikon officially comes out, and I would suggest that everybody stay on top of the Nikon website and any Nikon rumors type of websites that you might utilize to follow the path of what these lenses are. Now, the other thing is neither Nikon nor Tamron has announced any kind of a schedule for when these particular lenses will be available to the public. So that's part of the problem. But this is the roadmap going forward. I typed in parentheses for each one of the lenses, whether they're DX or FX format, and provided that to Chuck. Again, Nikon just basically, I guess you could say they surrendered the thought that we're not even going to attempt to camouflage these lenses with rebranding and rebadging. So these are lenses that are going to be sold side by side with Nikon lenses, and they're going to be out in the marketplace at some point, and you'll be able to buy them. Now, I know Chuck is not a third-party lens user. I happen to use a bunch of Tamron lenses. for both my F-mount cameras, and I use them with the adapter on my Z9. And I have found that I have never had a problem with any of the Tamron lenses with the FTZ2 adapter.
Hey, so as you guys can see up here, here's the list. It's in the description, so you can always go back and look for it. But just to go down the list, a 35 to 150, F2 to 2.8, sounds interesting, DX. The 28 to 75, which we basically already have in Nikon badging, 2.8. So somebody had mentioned over in the chat earlier, I saw over on my other screen that hoping for a 24 to 70. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do that right away since the 28 to 75 is already out, but that could be the case because Nikon's licensed them in some form to use the mount with all the proprietary information that goes into using the Z mount. So one of the great things about that is I guess Nikon's already approving lenses that Tamron can build. So the great thing about that is there are a whole lot more lenses that are about to enter the market for Z mount cameras, i.e. Nikon cameras. The little designator there, DI, and then 3111. The 3 just indicates that it's for a mirrorless camera in the Tamron lineup. All the other stuff, anybody out there that shoots Tamron can probably explain it better than I can. I went to their site and looked for it for the RXD and VXD. Mr. Connors was nice enough to throw DX format on there, but if you find anything that's incorrect, let us know. I guess this is the list that they had given to the dealer, or to the retailer. Is that correct, Paul?
That's what the owner of Madison Photo Plus provided to me when we spoke yesterday.
So this should be open information going out to everybody. I just thought I'd throw it on here tonight. You get a first look at what they're going to come out with. Who knows when? But the 28 to 200, I know a lot of people may be interested in some of these lenses. That's an FX lens, 2.8 to 5.6. Tamron 50 to 400. This one's interesting to me, and it's a DX format lens, 50 to 400.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I want to see what that is and see how. Is that already out in another mount? I'd be interested to know and to know how it performs.
I think most of these lenses, maybe not all of them, but most of them are already made for Sony.
Okay. And other, yeah. Okay.
Actually, no. They may be in the lineup for Sony, but they're not available for Sony yet. So, the thing is that as we've mentioned in past conversations, Tamron immediately jumped on manufacture for Sony. And one of the main reasons for that is Sony is the single largest minority owner of Tamron.
Well, that makes sense because Sony's not a lens producing company.
Right. So Tamron, because they're 28% owned by Sony, basically started producing mirrorless lenses for Sony first, because they had not worked out the details of this arrangement with Tamron. With Nikon. And then so they've also been doing work for Fujifilm. So basically, up until this became more or less public knowledge, Tamron was, you might say, in the mirrorless world, they were primarily captive to Sony, and then secondarily captive to Fujifilm. But again, Fujifilm, they worked out an agreement beforehand.
But my whole point is that I don't know which of these lenses are already out there. We have Sony shooters in here that may be familiar with these, whether they're out or not. And they can maybe attest to the performance of some of them. But that lens, that 50 to 400, just sounds interesting. I just want to see what it's actually capable of. You got a 70 to 180 DX format, 2.8. So a lot of fast glass. I think that's what a lot of people want to see. Especially for third party, that they're not going to get with Nikon, or at least as cheap. The 17 to 28, very popular focal range right there on DX at 2.8. 17 to 70, 2.8 on FX. 24 millimeter 2.8. And the OSD is their new optimized silent drive for their AF system. I don't know what the 1 to 2 means. I have no idea. I couldn't find it on their website.
That's the magnification ratio, Chuck.
Okay. Well, I would assume that, but I couldn't find it on their site, so I didn't know. An 11 to 20, David and I were just talking about this, D Moots Photography, 11 to 22.8 in the FX format, but you get about a 16 to 30 millimeter equivalent on APS-C. So that may be a nice lens for vlogging with the new Z. Oh, wait a minute.
Jeffrey, are we keeping you awake?
Prayer shotgun.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. So anyway, this may be a popular lens with people with the APS-C cameras for vlogging this and, that and other things. Here you go. 150 to 600. This lens has been out for Tamron for a while. I don't know anything about it. F5 to 6.7. It is a DX format lens, which is really strange to me. 150 to 600 DX.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause the other one's an FX.
The other lens in that focal length is an F mount lens.
Exactly.
Okay,
F
F mount.
FX.
So it's not a Z mount, it's an F mount.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, no, but they're bringing it out in Z mount.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
but
not on the list. I'm just going down the list right now. So if anybody shoots Sony and any of these lenses are out and you've had experience with them, just let us know what you think. 35 millimeter 2.8. There you go with the silent drive again. 18 to 300, 3.5 to 6.3 DX format. So a lot of long zooms from Tamron in the DX format. That's really interesting. And this may be the deal they brokered with Nikon. Nikon, after looking at a lens lineup, saying yes to this one, no to that one, or whatever for whatever reason.
Long Rider, no, I don't have that wrong. That's exactly how it was transmitted to me.
18 to 200, 3.5 to 6.3, and a 20 to 40, 2.8 DX format. So here they are, guys. Just thought it'd be worth throwing it out there for anybody that's interested in third-party lenses. Now I can't get out of this. Here we go.
Well, what's interesting is people will say, and will say, well, gee, if Tamron's stock goes up, then Sony's getting richer off of Nikon teaming up with Tamron here because Sony owns so much stock. But
Long Rider, that information was transmitted to me from the owner of the store, which came to him from Tamron. So
okay, well, wait a minute. But Paul, do we have whatever it is, VXR, RX, or VXD and RXD backwards? Is that what you're saying, Long Rider?
No, he is saying that the DX designation should be FX, but that's what my question. That's what my question is, because the old original 150 to 600 was an f5 to 6.3, and it's a full frame lens. So if this is true and going to be a DX lens, that's going to be kind of odd. That's different.
Yeah, I saw that, but again, I'm just transmitting what was given to me.
Yeah,
right.
sure.
But
yeah,
we're not doubting that at all, Paul. Not doubting that at all. But do we have VXD and RXD correct as being?
Well, VXD is DX format using Nikon speak, and RXD would be FX and Nikon speak.
Gotcha.
And that's what the rep said.
Yep.
Okay. So Long Rider, yeah, you want to call in, man? By all means. Before we get in, wait a minute. Before we get into a giant debate, we're not going to argue over what's what and what could be and what can't be, unless you know absolutely certain. There may be a lens that's already out there in another mount, may be out there. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the same when it comes to the Z mount, because this is Nikon's deal.
One of the things that Nikon stressed to Tamron, and Tamron agreed to do, is to fill in the gaps for the Nikon DX system. I'm not a DX shooter, so if I remember correctly, right now as we speak, there are only 2 DX lenses for the Z mount. Everything else that Nikon has introduced under their own manufacturer are FX full frame mounts, full frame lenses.
I went to Tamron and looked for these designations, and Tamron's not the easiest page to follow for stuff like that. You would think they'd have a page that says, here are all the, just like Nikon does on their lenses, what the designations mean. And if anybody wants to check that out, then we'll go back and we'll check them. We'll definitely check them. Charles.
Well, you just got to wonder. I just find it interesting that Nikon apparently felt Tamron was going to be a better working arrangement than, let's say, working with Sigma.
Well, you got to understand something. There were the rumors going out about the 28 to 75 2.8, which was everybody suspected, although Nikon never confirmed, that it was the G1 version of a Tamron lens, and it was just rebadged. So part of this whole thing, the magnitude of this list is based on that Nikon made a corporate decision that for Tamron to make these lenses, but rebadge them and retube them so that they appear to be Nikon manufactured. That's going to take too much time. They want to get these lenses. They want to get these lenses out to the marketplace. And David Stewart makes a comment here. He says, I hope you weren't given a list just to see where it went. I hope that the list is correct. I hope so too, David, because.
All right, guys, let me weigh in on that. Take it for what it's worth. I don't think anybody's going and selling blood tomorrow to save money for a Tamron lens. Okay. So no harm, no foul.
Oh, I was going to do that. I get more money for that.
I mean, this list is on Nikon Rumors website too.
Yeah.
When did that come up on Nikon Rumors? Just recently, because it wasn't there.
It was on August 30th.
Okay, with all those lenses? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
So, I mean, it's been out there for a little while.
Yeah, there's no sense debating the list. You got the list from who you got the list from, and if it's inaccurate, it has nothing to do with you. You're working with what you got and what they're saying, and that's the end of that.
And even the list that's on Nikon Rumors has that 150. It says 150 to 500 on the Nikon Rumors website, but it does say it's a DX lens, but it says 500 instead of 600.
And so that may be a typo on this list that he made. Not you, Paul. Not you.
Right. Yeah. Well, again, keep in mind that of the 15 lenses on this list, the majority of them are supposed to be DX, and that was supposed to be Tamron filling in the gaps that Nikon hasn't.
Well, I don't think we can speak for Nikon. Even a Tamron rep may come up with that, but that's a corporate announcement to talk about how they came to this decision or whatever. Just the fact that they've opened licensing up to Tamron is a good thing, and that there are going to be third-party lenses, at least from Tamron, coming up in the near future that's going to fill up some of those gaps, just like you said. I doubt Nikon is going to, off the bat, say, yeah, pick all of our prime lenses, and that's what I want you to make first.
Well, of the 15 lenses on the list, Chuck, there's, I believe, only 2 are prime lenses. So the rest.
I don't mean prime, our best-selling lenses. Let me get my verbiage correct. Okay. Our go-to lenses, not prime as in prime lens, single, or you know what I'm talking about.
Well, part of this, people need to remember, is Nikon's production capacity was cut by their closure of their Vietnamese factory north of Hanoi. So all of their manufacturing capacity was shifted to Thailand and a certain amount of it to China, but they lost almost a third of their capacity when the factory north of Hanoi closed. So
regardless, we're getting more lenses.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the big one. That's it, period. That's it, period. Yeah. Nikon has opened the gate and said, okay, third party, we're going to entertain you. And it just so happens that Tamron looks like it will be the first. We figured that with the 28 to 75 without all the arguments, because everybody was, right in saying it's the exact same patent. I mean, pretty much as the Tamron patent. Who cares? Why do we get wrapped around the axle over stuff like that?
Well, one of the things
they can badge it, Nikkor, Nikkor Tamron or Nikron or whatever. The bottom line is you're going to get a Z mount lens that it gives you a focal length probably cheaper than what you're going to get from Nikon. Am I correct?
Well, the Tamron rep said he wanted to name the lens after me. He wanted to call it Moron.
Yeah, well, then we would share a lens.
Well,
these
with all
lenses
these,
are going to be priced, pretty low, because even when you look at the variable aperture lenses, when they're at 6.3 with the one that goes to 300 millimeter 6.3, well, the one to 400 Nikon is a 6.3 at the long end. So that's how they save money, and that's why they're going to be cheaper.
Yeah,
they're not going to be as fast.
So here's the challenge to everybody out there. If you can correct anything on that list, by all means do. Send it in a comment. Help us out rather than us debating over no, they'll never, or no, they never did, or yes, they will, or whatever. If you've got information that helps us out and actually so people can understand, by all means, drop it in a comment. Don't just put it in the chat, because nobody will ever see it after it passes by.
Well,
put it in a comment. Hey, I've got a long rider on it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's going to help the orders of the new DX Nikon camera that's going to come out here soon.
It takes the pressure off Nikon. I think that's the best thing that it will do. It takes pressure off Nikon, because Tamron can produce some DX lenses, which is what everybody's harping on right now. We're the DX lenses. Why do we need a DX camera? We're not going to get any more DX lenses, blah, blah, blah. And this opens the door for that. The other thing it does, it relieves pressure on manufacturing for Nikon, and they can concentrate on the other lenses, Nikon lenses, and maybe get those out the door a little quicker too. So there's nothing but good that comes out of this.
Yeah.
Nothing but good.
It will hopefully free them up to get some of that 1.2 glass out that everybody.
That's what I just said. Exactly.
So they don't have to worry about the other stuff. It lets them focus on some of the lenses that are going to cost a little more, give them a better profit margin, just what they want. Everybody wins.
You're absolutely right. It opens the door for more production, period. And people get lenses quicker, and they get lenses that they wouldn't necessarily get in the upcoming year or two. So there you go. Yep. Great deal. And good. Now I'm just waiting for Nikon. Has anybody seen a statement from Nikon? I saw on the Tamron page that they discussed the deal struck. I don't know how they worded it, but with Nikon. So I think that's definitely what's going on, and we're going to see more glass. Long Rider, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Chuck, I own 3 or 4 of those lenses, and I know some of the older fellas might have some preconceived opinions about Tamron and Sigma. I had no issues with the lenses I owned, and I owned specifically that 11 to 20, that 17 to 70. Now, when I got rid of my APS-C, I got rid of those lenses, but they were great lenses. And you can find reviews on them, if you just search on YouTube and form your own opinion. The 17 to 70, a couple of people said was a little soft at the long end. I didn't really find that, but they autofocused damn near close to what Sony lenses did,
Yeah.
And to me, they were 98% of the performance for 60% of the cost. They do use a lot of plastic. I wouldn't even describe it as plastic. It's just some type of.
It's called polycarbonate.
I have dropped those lenses. I had no issue. They didn't crack or break.
Yeah.
And I don't shoot a lot of events, so I didn't want to put. I didn't want to spend $2,000 on a 70 to 200.
Yeah.
So I bought that 70 to 180. That lens was stellar. It's 2/3 the size and weight of a 70 to 200, and it was awesome. It was just an awesome lens.
Yeah, and I want to say this too, and you can speak to it as well, Long Rider. Is everybody in here thinking that? I mean, we're going to start shooting down Tamron about how bad they are and bad it is, and all the other stuff. I mean, are you mad because you got to buy one and it's not the quality you want? The whole point about it is this is for, I see it as, for people that can't afford premium prices of OEM glass. That's what third party does for us. Not that they don't come up with some great lenses from time to time, but I don't expect it to be Nikon quality. And if it is, man, you get a bonus.
Yeah, that's you'd rather have a lens. You'd rather have a lens than no lens.
Yeah. So, and I'm not shooting Tamron down. So before everybody wants to beat me up there, I'm just saying that you can wait for a certain focal length and wait and wait and wait. But if it were to come out in Tamron, you'd have the opportunity to get it. And more than likely, it's going to be cheaper than what the OEM comparative lens would be. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I spent a lot of money on my wildlife glass,
Yeah.
But, for the amount of time that I was shooting events and family things, I didn't want to spend $6,000-$7,000 on, the Holy Trinity. I do have this 16 to 35 G Master, but I had no problem with those lenses. I currently own that 35 to 150. That lens is great.
Yeah.
You put one lens on, you can shoot anything. It's an awesome lens. A little heavy, but it's still better than carrying a 24 to 70 and a 70 to 200 in my view.
Yeah.
I have that lens.
The only lenses on there that are DX. There's 3 lenses, and that's it.
Okay.
The 17 to 70 is a DX lens. The 11 to 20 is a DX lens, and that 18 to 300 is DX. The rest of them are all full frame lenses.
Okay.
And you can go on B&H's website. They have them all listed. You can see for yourself.
Okay.
So I had nothing but good experiences with Tamron. I own a couple of Sigma Primes. And, I want to say just one more thing. I don't know if you guys know who Roger Ciala is at Lens Rentals. He's like my lens guru. When I have questions or I'm researching a lens, I go check out what he has to say. And he does everything, bench test them. He's got the very specific testing equipment.
Right.
He tears them apart. So he goes into build quality and how they actually work.
Right.
And you listen to what he has to say about some of the Sigma Primes. He'll tell you the sharpest lens he ever tested is the Sigma 28 1.4.
Okay.
So, I think the older versions of what Sigma and Tamron used to make had some issues. I don't think it's so much of an issue today, and for the price.
Again, I don't even know why we would argue the point, because you're buying the lens. If it's great, hey man, that's just wonderful. That's wonderful. But the bottom line is it's for those that can't afford a 2 to 600 Nikon, but they may be able to get into a 150 to 600 Tamron. And somebody just put up less expensive or cheap. Well, you got to make that call. You got to make that call.
That 150 to I think they make a 150 to 500 for Sony, and a lot of people like that because it's really, really small and light.
Yeah.
So it is a choice, but I think first of all, you might not be able to get it from Nikon for a while. That's the first thing.
Right.
And the second thing is the financial considerations,
Yeah. And David, he just dropped a comment here. A lot of it depends on your use case. If all you need is low resolution, well, I wouldn't say that. I would guess that there are lenses in there that actually have great resolution. Not all, but again, you're not going to get premium products at a bargain price. That's just not the way it works. That's not.
Yeah, Tamron has a 150 to 500. It's an f5 to 6.7.
Yep.
$12.99.
Yeah. So somebody can buy that lens that couldn't obviously or may not be able to afford a higher price OEM lens, and they're going to be happy with it. And that's the bottom line. As Photo Mike would say, is it good enough?
Yeah. Everybody's use case is different. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all
if it's better than you assumed, then hey, that's even better.
Now B&H has that listed as an APS-C lens. It's not. It's a full frame lens.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, they do have it listed as full frame.
Okay.
It's a full frame lens.
All right. Well, we shall see.
And I'll tell you something. The other nice thing about these lenses. So I bought the 11 to 20 and the 70 to 180, and I had them both for about a year and a half. And then when the 35 to 150 came out, I traded them both in. I only lost about $150. They gave me good trade-in value. So
okay.
That was my experience.
And there it is. I don't typically buy a third party, although I do have 2 Sigma lenses because they were just raved about, the 35 art and the 50 art. And then I never shot with them after I got them because I don't know. It just didn't work for me the way I wanted. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the lenses, but anyway, nothing wrong with them. It's just my personal, opinion on the lenses, but they're there for a reason so that, other people, one, Tamron makes money. 2, people that can't spend a fortune on OEM glass have an option. Sometimes they surprise us with how good they are.
Yeah.
But the only thing that you're rating on those lenses is it good enough for me? And if it is, hey, be happy, shoot, enjoy it.
Yeah. Not everybody's taking
Anybody have any other
pictures
questions?
to sell them.
Tamron lenses?
No, I don't think we do, Long Rider.
All right, guys. Have a great night.
Hey, appreciate it, buddy. You have a good night
Bye-bye.
too.
See ya.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it this way. Most people taking pictures aren't trying to sell what they do.
Well, I think we get caught up in that. Everybody
No,
thinks that,
and it's a totally different thing. If you're trying to make a living and you're trying to sell huge prints, that's one thing. But if you're just for your own personal enjoyment, put a wall hanger on the wall, those lenses are going to be more than adequate for that.
well, you could say that about some of the Nikon glass. It's more than adequate, but they're not great. Nikon produced some lenses that weren't necessarily stellar also.
That is true.
Canon has done the same.
I had a lot of the Tamron G2 lenses, and they were perfectly sharp. There no problem at all with them.
Yeah.
I've got 6 of them, and I like them. And I bought them for F-mount glass.
Yeah.
And because I just recently bought the Z9, I have the FT-Z2 adapter, and I've only got one Z-mount lens. And by the way, it's the Viltrox 85 millimeter, and it's a great lens. Now, the interesting thing is that Nikon didn't go after Viltrox the way Canon did.
Yeah.
Nikon's not do their thing.
Yeah, they're not going after Viltrox like Canon.
Well, that's why we got to get to the bottom of what Canon's doing. Again, I heard from a different perspective. With their new mount, they have the additional 4 pins that are bidirectional, meaning the lens and the camera are constantly talking to each other. And if they can't master that, they being those that reverse engineer, then there is the possibility of having an issue with the camera, and Canon doesn't want to go through that. And I don't blame them. So that's what I heard. We'll find out what's true and what isn't.
It'll come out eventually here.
Well, that's when you don't. That's when. But see, there's a difference when you cut somebody off like that. Maybe the right thing would be is you do a licensing agreement with them, so you have a little bit more control.
Yes.
And you ensure that you don't have that kind of problem that's going to damage your camera. But when you just cut them off at the knees and you don't have an alternate plan other than kind of like you got to buy from us, that's a lose-lose for them. I mean, they're Canon faithful are all PO'd right now big time. So you can't really
Canon's going to have a tough time in court taking Viltrox to court because Viltrox is manufactured in China. And we all know that the communist Chinese violate intellectual property all the time.
You're not winning anything in China. You can forget about that. So anyway, but we'll let Canon fight that battle. Yeah. But I'm not going to be quick to jump on, like everybody else. It's, Canon's terrible. I don't know the deal. I don't know why they did it yet. And again, I've heard somebody explain it from a different perspective, and okay, that makes sense. But I don't know that that's the case or whatever. So, hey, Hassan, you disagreeing with me, man? Don't disagree with me. I'm with you. I just don't like Sigma, at least the F-mount glass that I got, the art lens. I didn't like them, and that's just that. I'm not saying they're bad lenses. I didn't like them. That's it. But I'm sure that there are a lot of lenses out there that are good, and that's the great thing about third party is, you can experiment. You can try and buy or whatever.
Well, one thing that I've used Sigma in the past and I've had mixed results with them, but there is one thing that Sigma still has going against it, and it has nothing to do with the quality of the glass. Their lenses are just so heavy. compared to Nikon or Canon or Sony lenses. I mean, they're built like tanks, but they are heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I agree. The 2R lenses are heavy, but that never bothered me. As you guys know, I'm not going down that path again. But anyway, look, the more the merrier. That's the way I see it. And I had this big discussion with Amar, and he was talking about the lens, the patent with the mount and the extra pins and blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, okay, whatever. I can understand that, but the more the merrier. Just inundate us with lenses from all the different makers. I don't care. That's good for us, the consumer.
Well, typically it's been an open market for the most part. I mean, Nikon will hold back for a little while, and they're doing the right thing where they're selectively picking and choosing who they want to partner with and what they want to have them do. But they're not closing it. They got the door closed a third of the way, but it ain't closed all the way.
Hey, buddy, I want to say hi to Nikon. He's always so busy over there. He never gets a chance to join us. I hope you're not working yourself to death, brother. Yeah, third party does not mean inferior. Okay, I'll go along with that as well. But typically, third party is less expensive. Because if I say cheaper, everybody's going to say it's not cheap. Okay, you know what I'm talking about, though. You know what? I'm not woke, so I'm not going to go down that path. When I say cheaper, I mean it costs less. Okay, so they're good lenses. If it works for you, then great. And if for every person that can tell me about a lens, a third-party lens they got that was soft, I can find 5 other people that disagree. Who's right, who's wrong? Get it yourself and try it. You got a bad copy, or you still think it's not for you, then let it go. Get rid of it. That's the reason OEM make lenses, so that we get what we consider quality lenses. And now I'll get beat up because you're saying that third party aren't quality. It isn't what I'm saying, but I think everybody will agree OEM is typically better than any of the third party. Not in every case, but pretty daggone close. All right.
Here's another thing that I'd like to add to that discussion. Yep. Regardless of whether you like him or not, Ken Rockwell, when he does third-party lens reviews, and a lot of times he comes out and he calls them like he sees them, but when he likes the third-party lenses, he tends to qualify what he says. He says, look, going forward in the future, this third-party lens may not work for you on the manufacturer's body 10 or 12 years from now. But he always uses the caveat emptor warning, which is A, let the buyer beware, and B, if the third-party lens is half the cost or a third of the cost, you can buy more glass that way. And at the time when the next camera body it doesn't work on, well, then you make the adjustment at that time. And a lot of times it's 10 or 12, 15 years in the future.
And the chances of being able to upgrade firmware with a lens maker that's licensed to make that lens for an OEM maker are pretty daggone good as well.
Yeah.
I think you run into not the problem with you can't, the lens won't be any good with certain bodies as it comes out. I don't think that's a problem at all, to be honest. And I'll kick that hornet's nest. I think it's an issue of whether the manufacturer will have replacement parts for that lens 10 years down the road. That becomes an issue.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that Nikon can do about that. That's a third party issue.
Yep.
Well, Nikon doesn't want to keep the spare parts around for their own lenses. That's why they dropped.
Exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. So that's a moot point when people go down that path of, well, it may not be any good in 10 years. Well, you know what? My 1-400 might not be any good in 10 years too. I don't expect that to be the case, but who am I to say that it won't be?
Roy put out a valid point. Firmware update can stump a third-party lens. So let's just say Nikon and Tamron 10 years from now have a falling out. You never know, right? What might happen. If one party gets ticked off at the other party, the manufacturer can always do a firmware upgrade and make it so none of those other lenses ever work on that camera body again.
Yep.
And that's always something that
I'll stand right here and say it ain't happening. It is not going to happen. I'll say that right now. And if it ever does, if I'm still on the air, I'll be the first to say I was wrong. that isn't going to happen. That's just silly crap that people conjure up in their heads about, well, they could shut us off. It's like the Old West damming the creek so your cattle die of thirst.
Well, I think the risk there is more if someone's reverse engineering than if you've signed a legal contract.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those that broker a deal with an OEM maker. Then the OEM maker is not going to shut that spigot off, 5 years down the road because they're mad at the other person or whatever. No, I don't see that at all.
But somebody that's not licensed and not cutting the deal with Nikon.
Yeah, that's
Nikon
a different
has
story.
no obligation to make sure that their lenses work on their camera.
They've already done that with batteries.
Yeah.
So there you go. If you do it illegally, then caveat emptor, buyer. Exactly.
Yeah, but batteries are a great example, whether you're using Canon or Sony or Nikon gear. And look, Nikon claims they make their own batteries. They don't. But the thing is that everybody warns people when it comes to camera batteries, don't use aftermarket batteries. Use the manufacturer's batteries.
You'll find 500 people tonight, if you call around, that are using aftermarket batteries and they're working. But there's always a few that it didn't. Something happened to their camera. Hey, I'll pay the price. I pay the premium. I'm not going down that path. Nikon says don't, I won't. And that's that.
Yeah,
Is it to get more money out of me? Well, they win.
Nikon may not make it, but Nikon specs it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
their quality control and how they spec it out is probably going to be much better than the ones that are trying to copy something that may work in the Nikon camera. So I had problems with a aftermarket battery that screwed my camera up big time. So I will never do that again. I will always use the Nikon battery. No matter who makes it for Nikon, it works.
Yeah.
Right. That's why the argument about Sony sensors and Nikon cameras is probably not a valid argument, because who cares who makes the sensor, because it's a Nikon spec sensor.
I hate that we open that up. Why give anybody? Why do we even mention that anymore, Paul? It just opens that door again.
Because it's a Nikon spec sensor.
No, we don't have to defend it. If we ignore that whole thing, it might go away someday, but we just open the door for more conversation about it.
Okay, everybody, I'm sorry I brought it up.
No.
And I'd like to say one more thing, Chuck, because when we came online before the show started, I want to apologize to the audience for wearing a cap tonight, but I got hit in the head with a golf ball today, and I've got a big bloody bandage on under the cap. And I didn't think you all wanted to see that, so I'm wearing a cap tonight, and I apologize.
I'm only putting this up here for you, Amar. Yes, but that's with something that wasn't licensed, and that's the end of that. Got it. All right. If it's licensed, I don't think you're going to have to worry about it. All right. All right, guys.
How many pictures did you get sent to you, Chuck, so we can
17?
Our
I got 17 photos, but I'm going to ask the audience. So you guys want to continue with this? We will. Or do you want to get to the photos? It's entirely up to you guys. I could say the same for you. Hey, get a Nikon adapter for your Canon, and you got over 2,000. How you like that? We're gonna play that game. My dog's bigger than your dog.
There's
No,
one
we're not
photos.
gonna play that game. Chuck just finished a 19-hour shift. I feel like it.
There's 2 votes for the photos.
All right.
Yeah, we could beat a dead horse here. I think we covered it well enough.
You ought to see what the golf ball looks like after it hit my head.
I bet.
I wish
I just want to know how many dimples did you get from that ball? Was that one of the new ones with the highest amount of dimples?
Well, there's I can tell you the ball it was a Max Fly straight fly it's got a weird dimple pattern to it. And after I got hit in the head and after I got up off the ground, I took my pitching wedge out and I hit it back at the guy who hit it at me. So,
So Hassan, I won't argue that with you. They may even be better. They'll be greater than, you're trying to pick a fight with and I don't mean that literally, with the wrong person, because people get too wound up over their lenses and their charts. I don't care how many tests they run. It's what it looks like when I use it. That's it. That's why I don't buy lenses for people. I buy them for me.
Yeah, and you got to remember those charts too, is you got variability, and they might try two different lenses, so they say they didn't base it on one lens, but you know what? You can have variability all over the place. You're not doing a big enough sample size to say those charts are 100% good.
I have never bought a lens based on
a chart. No, me either. Never
No.
will.
And when people start talking to me about it, all I hear is wah 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 wah. That's all I hear. Doesn't make any sense to me, and it never made a difference in what I bought as far as lenses go. So there you have it.
I think people should buy the lenses they think they need or know they need, and not apologize for that.
Yeah. You should never have to apologize for what you buy, because that's your personal choice. See, and that's it. And you're not doing it to make the rest of the world happy.
Amar, that's not true anymore. That's not true anymore. You want to prove that to me? You come and sell all my F-mount glass for a good price. It's going cheap now. So I'm not playing that game.
That's what Jerry Guionis said to us.
Oh, and I love how people have lenses that are 50 years old and talk about it's the greatest lens ever. No, it's not. I got news for you. It didn't. It was great 50 years ago, but it ain't now. I'm going to tick everybody off tonight.
Oh,
let's go to the photos. Go to the photos.
Your lens that you love so much was great. Like that, where I was talking, was it you, Amar? Or I don't know who it was. D700. I owned a D700, so don't tell me I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. I had a D700. Great, man. Great camera. Was. You hear that? WAS. Was.
As in past
now
tense.
somebody's going to say it's still a great camera. Yeah, if we can go back to, 2000 and what? Yeah, it's a great camera then.
2007.
Not now, okay? But anyway, and I loved it, all right? But guess what? I sold it. There you go. All right. Michael loves third-party lenses. Great. I'm glad that people do. No, we're not going down that path. They might become incompatible in the future. You weren't listening, were you?
Oh,
if it's licensed, the only way it becomes incompatible is if I don't know how it becomes incompatible. I really don't. I don't think Nikon's going to flip the switch and say, no, we're not allowing those anymore. You got to go buy a new one.
Long Rider has a good point there. The new optics and coatings are way better today than they were.
Sure, they are.
Prior. Way better.
Your lens flare. Some of the best. I'll use the word Leica. Some of the best Leica lenses don't control flare very well.
Yeah.
Firmware update,
and that's just a matter of time. They're phenomenal for their time, their era, but you can't compare them to the lenses now that have all these multi-coating.
But people, it's like a long lost puppy dog. They just can't let go of it, and they're going to continue. Oh, Yeller was the best dog. I don't care if there's ever. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, but old Yeller died 65 years ago, Chuck.
Yeah. Firmware update can stump a third-party lens. Yes, it can. But that's the whole reason for buying third-party lenses that are licensed by an OEM maker. Okay, everybody understand that. If it's licensed by a third party or by an OEM maker, guess what? You don't have to worry about that. And if the firmware update does stump the camera and it was licensed by, stump the lens, and it was licensed by the OEM maker, then it's up to the OEM maker to make it good. And they have actually, haven't they, in the past? Or Sigma worked. I know Canon and Sigma worked together when went mirrorless and using the adapter. the Sigma glass. There was an issue with Sigma glass on Canon cameras. So bingo, Amar, for all the third-party makers that are illegally making lenses for camera bodies. Yes. Oh, it's going to be interesting to see Randall Brander. So here you go. This must be somebody from your stream over there, Mr. David. Randall, good to see you in here, man. Third-party lenses that have firmware update features help the issues with the cameras. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
As Long Rider says, newer lenses have USB ports to update the lens, so it is a lot easier.
Oh yeah,
a lot easier now.
Unless it's a Viltrox lens, and they don't.
Yeah.
So there you go, Roy. I agree with you, man. There are lenses that you enjoy using, but I think we get ridiculous when we go down this path and start talking about how those lenses are greater today than they were when they first came out, or better than all the glass that's being made today. They are good. We enjoy them. They have some character to them, a lot of them, but that's what we enjoy about them, is that character of that lens. And usually, isn't it common that character that we love so much is an imperfection? Isn't that strange?
Hey, my wife keeps me around because I'm a character,
Yeah.
Well, I dodged that bullet, Jeffrey, so I don't have a wife to complain about or complain to or have her complain about me.
Roy, I have one, actually I have two manual focus lenses. A Rokinon, I bought that years ago to play with some astrophotography. It was out one night, and well, I probably couldn't find it for the dust in the cabinet now. And my Zeiss lens, which I absolutely love. I have the F2 100. It's a beautiful lens. It's fantastic. It is manual focus. I don't like manual focus because I don't want to slow down as much as I need to with manual focus. So that's a fault of mine. I understand that. But I don't care to manual focus. And I'm definitely, if I'm shooting anything where speed is of essence, I can't use a manual focus lens. I didn't live through the manual focus only era, and I can't focus manually like so many other people can. So therefore, newer is better for me. So now we're going to get all my Sigma did this, and my whatever did that, and all the different. And that's the problem with these conversations is for every person that has an issue, there's a person that absolutely loves the camera or the lens and never had an issue. So I don't know how to speak to that. That's why I just don't even go down that path. For me, that's just the way it is, I guess.
Well, I gotta agree with you, Chuck, because as we all get older, our vision changes, obviously, and I don't trust my vision anymore to manually focus.
Yeah, no, me either. Hey, Amar, thanks for dropping in, man. And yeah, I did bring it. I did mention you when we were talking about the pins and the RF mount and the patent for the RF mount. So there you go, buddy. I did mention you. You changed my mind a little bit on that. So now I have to wait and see. Thank you, Michael. I don't know. There'll be people that argue with that. Best YouTube channel. Let's see. Randall Brander, what are your thoughts with dummy batteries studio instead of using the USB-C recharging in the camera while doing live streaming? You know what? It's caveat emptor. There you go, Randall. I actually use the Nikon OEM dummy batteries, but now understand this: they're not a battery, as you know, and I have to plug it into a power source sometimes if I want to use it battery operated. So, but I think that everything is contained in the battery. What am I trying to say? The dummy battery, so that it negates issues, I guess, with you plugging it into an external power source. But But I'm all about dummy batteries, and I have a few of them, and that's what I'm using right now on my Z6 to stream. Yeah, the chips, and all the batteries are chipped now, so they know exactly. The camera knows exactly what's in it when you put the battery in the camera body.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people use a lot of third party batteries, but I'll tell you, I've never had any luck with Watson batteries. I don't mean that they caused a problem, and I'm talking really in. This was in my old. Oh shoot. My D300S. I went out and bought, and back then it probably wasn't as big a deal to buy third party batteries. But anyway, they just never held a charge. But I bought them because they were cheaper, and I just couldn't get them to hold a charge. Maybe I had a bad batch. I'll admit that could be an issue. But anyway, from that point on, it was always OEM batteries. All right.
Hey, Chuck, as much as I know most of the audience here doesn't care for Tony and Chelsea, one of the few things they did say correctly is they don't recommend people use third-party batteries because they said on average, when they tried them, after 6 weeks, the batteries were shot, literally 6 weeks, and they would just stop holding a charge.
Hey, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
And a broken camera's right twice a day, right?
Yes.
A broken clock, I should say.
Yeah, it's funny.
Glad to know
I ran some early on. I ran some third party batteries, and the battery grip of my D850 never had any issues with them. But it was a little later that I noticed they didn't last as long. That's about the only fault I saw in them. And I used them for quite a while, but then I strictly just went back to Nikon batteries.
I'm actually very pleasantly surprised at how long Nikon batteries last. Whether it was for my D750, my D300, my D300S, the D850, the little indicator on the back of the camera, which says the age of the battery. I don't think I've ever seen that indicator move off of new.
Yeah. And
all
the third party batteries I used were the EL 18s, in the battery grip, and those I never had any issue with them other than after a long time, it definitely didn't hold a charge as long.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this comment up there just to start a war.
Good for you, Charles. Good for you, Charles Davis.
No, here it is.
I know, overrated.
Man, them's fighting words in Nikon. Them's fighting words. Good on you, Neth. Good on you. And that's all, and how everybody feels. There you go.
All right, John Young is taking me to task for batteries. Look, John, I have no problem with whatever you say. I'm just telling you what other people have told me. I have not used third-party batteries. I have no intention of doing that. If you think I'm wrong, I'll accept your judgment. After all, I got hit with a golf ball in the head today, so what do I know about anything?
Jeffrey's playing.
Jeffrey's got his Carhartt T-shirt on, huh?
All right, so let me skip to the bottom. All right, guys, here's the deal. We're getting ready to. Chuck is really stirring it up. Yeah. No, man, I'm just getting stirred up. We got to have a little life in here. It's been a little dead the last few days or the last few streams, so got to stir it up a little bit. All right, so let me go to the bathroom. You all know the drill. I got to run in here and take a leak, and when I get back, I got to fill my coffee cup up too. So I'll have to go to the bathroom.
Too much information, Chuck.
All right.
Be careful what you fill your coffee cup up with. That's all I got to say.
And when I get back, we will cease and desist with the third party talk.
Chuck, make sure that you put coffee in the cup and not what in the cup.
Yeah.
17 photos. We'll be here till midnight.
Well, we're gonna do a 6 minute. I'm gonna set a clock. I'm gonna set a clock, man. 6 minutes. That's it. 6 minutes.
It won't work. But set it anyway. It gives me something to strive for.
Chuck will just mute you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Be right
I'll
back.
tick them off, I'm sure, by the end of the night.
John Young, I don't trust Tony and Chelsea. I'm just telling you one of the very few things that I believe that they said correctly is don't trust third-party batteries. That's an opinion. That's all it is. I normally don't trust and believe Chelsea and Tony about anything. They're clickbait artists. That's all they are. Jeffrey, wake up.
Yeah, I'm just getting my app on here, my stopwatch app. Getting it ready.
Let's see. We miss anything in here?
Yeah, because I don't want to be here till 2 a.m. if we get crazy on these pictures.
I can tell you what, I won't be here till 2 a.m.
I'm 12:15 a.m. is enough for me.
I'm supposed to play golf again tomorrow. I didn't learn my lesson from today, so I have a 7:00 tee time tomorrow. So
yeah, Charles Davis, you're right. Back in the old days, a while back, Tony and Chelsea did produce good material. I remember when I first got into photography, I watched their, because I was searching, and they obviously popped up in the top searches, and they did produce some good stuff back then. They were more into explaining and actually teaching you some stuff versus just clickbait stuff like now.
well, yeah, they produce books and everything that they continue to update.
Yeah,
the books were actually quite informative.
Yeah, I actually bought one of their books early, long time ago, early on, and I still get emails saying, "Hey, they have got an update for it." I don't pay attention to them anymore, but they did.
It just comes down to once they start deriving an income from YouTube, then it's more important to keep the numbers up with the subscriptions and stuff, and they have to change their approach. And many will say that Frono had good content when he started as well, but he still has the subscribers, obviously, for various reasons. But that's fine. But your approach changes, and it's a matter of economics. If you're now relying on YouTube to put food on the table, you're going to do what you have to do to put food on the table.
Have you ever seen them when they pull out of the garage in their house in Essex, Connecticut? They pull out in a big BMW 750 IL. Their house is probably 5,000 square feet. Tony made a lot of money on Wall Street before he ever got into the YouTube gig. And,
he wrote books for Microsoft and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and he made money on Wall Street, and he's probably independently wealthy. And David Stewart, thank you. I will ask for a helmet when I go to the first tee tomorrow morning.
Yeah, just bring a bike helmet with you, a bicycle helmet.
No, I'm going to dig out my old K-pot from when I was in Afghanistan and Iraq. It'll stop a bullet. It should bounce a golf ball off my head. Yeah. The only problem is those things are so heavy that you don't want to wear them.
Hey, but if it's a heavy helmet, it's going to help you keep your head down.
Yeah, not lift your head and top the ball, right?
Right. So your game might improve. I mean, that could be the whole key to it. You could come up with a new invention. You just got to have that weighted golf hat, and all of a sudden your swing is better.
Yeah, but I don't think people want to see the camouflage head cover on top of the K-pod. So, but I could have used that thing today. Believe me.
Oh, all right. So let's get into the photos.
Let's do it. We got to see what Jeffrey has in store for us tonight. Do
we have a photo of a nuclear detonation over Putin's house?
Nope. Do not.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
I did not submit a photo that you would expect me to submit. I'll leave it at that.
Awesome.
All right. First up, Joe Stroud. Joe, are you in the crowd, man, or did you leave us because we're being buffoons tonight?
Snowy Owl.
Speak for yourself, Chuck. I am not a buffoon.
Okay.
Joe Stroud, Snow Owl, great shot. I like it.
Comments from the gallery? I should say peanut gallery. That's us.
I like it. Quite frankly, it's the first time I've actually seen a photo recently of a snow owl in its natural habitat as opposed to being in a zoo or someplace else.
You see a lot of them up here in the wintertime. I just never get around to where they're at, but I guess up here in Massachusetts, there are a lot of snow owls in the winter.
Well, I mean, I like the composition. Yeah. The composition's good, and it's always tough when you're dealing with snow and an animal that's white, is predominantly white. I mean, that's kind of like the toughest thing to nail when it comes to your exposure. So, good job.
We get the snowies down here when there's an eruption. They'll come down to Kansas. You know, it's the young ones, and most of them. The sad thing is, most of them don't survive, though.
I like it. Joe, I don't know if Joe's around. I don't remember if he said he would be or not, but Joe, I like it.
I like his use of the rule of thirds.
Yeah,
I know that's probably overstating the obvious, but I like it. And again, I really like the fact that he caught the subject in its natural habitat.
That's a cool shot.
Now here, talk about catching the subject in the natural habitat. This is
Darren Francis, Mr. Francis. Darren, are you around, buddy? He told me it was going to be another hockey shot. That's what he submitted the last time. Good shot, though.
It is. Yeah. That's a good shot.
It's funny how the thing there at the top of the net there, I guess it probably just lights up when the goal goes in, has the green color to match the uniform.
Yeah.
No, that looks like a bottle of Gatorade.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that a drink?
I think that's a sensor.
Yes, I think so. I think that is the indicator whether it was a goal or not.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's all electronic now. Now they can't fight over that anymore. There are my brothers in here watching us from Kentucky Lake Dam. Oh man, they're up there fishing, having a good time. All right, brother. All right. Waiting for Mr. Darren. Darren, are you in here, buddy? Oh. Joseph wants to call. Hang on.
Yeah, a puck in the shot would really make it.
Hey, Joseph, you here? I don't know what happened. I lost him.
Yeah, next time we'll have to see if he can put one in where you got somebody on the other team kind of flying into the goalie. You know how they get close and they smash into the goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Roy on that as far as Darren's shot here. I like that overhead. Just something different.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, remote camera. It's one of his mounted cameras over the goal, obviously. So, man, serious about his hockey, shooting hockey. Hey, Joe, if you're still around, man, call right back and we'll pull your photo back up. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened to the line.
Space people who was talking about golf and ice cars will be both things of the past. Actually, I think you're wrong. Golf had a major uptick as a result of COVID. So,
well, no, he's talking about water supply. Water supply isn't that way everywhere, but I know it's very in dire need out west and down in Mississippi too, for some reason. So we're not going to get into all that craziness. I don't think we're ever going to run out of water. I don't think we're ever going to run out of fossil fuels. And enough said.
Mark Lynch is mixing his metaphors. He's got the puck might be in the fifth hole. I agree with you, Mark. The guy probably thought he was on a par 3 and took out a puck instead of a golf ball.
Waiting for Joe again. Hopefully Joe will get back in here. That's not the way we're supposed to go.
Ring Mantis, P40.
I don't know why. Why is it doing that? Anyway, all right, I can fix that. Let's go on to Greg Wilson. I know you're in here. I'll come back to you, Joe, if you're still in here, man. Sorry about that. And Mr.
Greg was just praying for a shot here. Get the praying mantis.
That's a good
Hassan
shot.
Is pulling I am Hassan is pulling his grits thing to annoy me again.
The green and the purple look great together.
Yeah. Tell you, those are very, very voracious eaters, those
Yep.
Those insects are. They are brutal.
I just chased one off of my hummingbird feeder yesterday because they will take out hummingbirds.
They'll kill hummingbirds?
They will, yes.
Wow.
They will set on a hummingbird feeder and catch a hummingbird right out of the air.
All right, Joe, if you want to call back, man, I'll pull your photo up again if you want to tell us about it real quick. So if
use the D500 and the 105 macro.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
D500 still going strong, man.
Yeah.
Great.
Those flowers are forget-me-nots. There's an interesting story about forget-me-nots. Hitler was anti-Mason during World War II, and how German Masons who were opposed to the Hitler regime would identify themselves to other Masons rather than using Masonic imagery. They would wear a forget-me-not, like in the buttonhole of their suit jacket or on their uniform. Yeah. That was how they would identify themselves to other Masons, whether they were civilians or military. There's a hummingbird.
Mr.
We
Gustavo.
know who this is.
Gustavo shot.
Man.
That's art. That is art.
Looks good. Great background too. Just clean.
Now, when you say creamy bokeh, you actually have a creamy color.
Yeah.
Never mind the bokeh. That's truly a creamy bokeh.
That's a print if there ever was one.
Yeah. And plus you got the wasp or whatever there in the flower as well on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broad-tailed hummingbird.
No, he gets fantastic hummingbird shots. I mean, I put a few on one of my videos a week ago or so, and they were okay. But when you're trying to, I think I said in the video that the best hummingbird shots are people that are fortunate enough to have put the right plants in their yard and set their yard up to attract them, because then you can have a hide or they get used to you, and you could get much better photos than if you go out in the wild to try to get them. That's a bear.
Another great shot, Gustavo. Gustavo's sending me hummingbird photos from time to time, man. He says he practices a lot there in the chat.
Hey, Gustavo, what is the background to that? What is in the distance?
Hey, I am Hassan. You know, praying mantis love grits.
No, Daw, I haven't skipped yours yet, man. It's coming. Yeah, it does look like a painting. I think that's the key. I think it's beautiful. That's why I say beautiful print right there.
It looks like almost like a pen and ink drawing.
There you go.
It says natural grass.
Natural grass is the background. Isn't that amazing how you can just totally blur that out?
That's with the 500 PF.
Yeah.
ISO 1600.
He just picked that up. He just picked that lens up recently, and
it's a killer lens.
It's top shelf, man. I missed mine. Right. I don't know when the heck I'm going to get it back. I really missed
mine's right behind me on the shelf.
Mr. Long Rider.
Osprey going in.
We have an Osprey. Yep.
Where's the poor victim?
Decisive moment there, buddy.
Just under the surface.
Now, does the Long Rider, do you go to the dam there to get pictures, or is that in a local waterway where you got that? Because I know you're pretty close to. Isn't there a dam in Maryland that's pretty famous for?
Well, no, he's not in Maryland. He's in New Jersey, so that's down in New
Jersey. Yeah.
Is that the Delaware Water Gap or the Delaware River?
I have no idea. Yeah, the talons being outstretched like that. I mean, he's ready to latch.
Yeah, look how big they are too, those talons. I mean, just look how spread out they are.
I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that thing. That's a predator.
Yeah, no, that would hurt.
Yeah, great timing on that, Long Rider. Man, that's fantastic. I aspire to that someday. First, I have to get out of this chair. I think that's the first step I need to take.
Chuck, there's a lot of people who get shots of eagles and ospreys and things like that on the Palisades of New Jersey, and up the Hudson on their way up to West Point.
All right, so King Tech sent me 2 photos, and I didn't realize I had the one in, so I just left. I put both of them in here together. So he sent this one, was the second photo. He was talking about the dress, getting more, and you'll see what I mean here when I pull the second one up. King, are you in here tonight? I hope so. Oh, beautiful background, though.
Yeah, it is. Talk about creamy.
And very, very good. The color composition, her red hair. I mean, it's a beautiful photo.
Looks almost like a Disney character.
Oh, I said it was Long Rider. Sorry, Jeff. It was you.
Oh, okay.
That's right. That was your shot. Sorry. Sorry about that, buddy, on the Osprey. So, yeah, I'll go back to that real quick, man. So he's saying it was shot at the Hudson Woods State Park in Oxford, Ohio. Yeah, man. Sorry about that, brother. Got too many Jeffs. Some of you Jeffs going to have to change your name. But yeah, man, sorry about that. So you sent me 2. Kang sent me 2, and I don't think he's in here tonight. So we'll check out the other one real quick. Yeah, I'm not reading the chat. You can verify that now, David. So let's go back. Let's go back to Kang's other shot. We'll pull it up for just a minute. I know he's not in here, I guess. But same girl, and the reason he sent the other photo that I just showed was he wanted to show the dress, and I think he's right. I think it does more for the photo.
Yeah, if this one was cropped in more, and it was just basically a headshot with the flower,
yeah,
that would be a better shot. But the full dress shot is really good too.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a good shot, but it just needs cropped in.
And of course, seeing it in this size on the screen there, you really can't appreciate it. But you guys know that it's hard to appreciate it unless you see it on a big screen.
Yeah,
but,
the colors are really nice.
Oh.
The red hair and the blue and all that, and the green.
Look at the texture on the weave on that blouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no problem with resolution there. No doubt about that. I get was it 200%.
Yeah, it looks good on our end, so it probably looks even better right there with you, Chuck.
Luis P. He sent a photo in, and
Hummingbird night.
Yes,
nice.
It's beautiful as well.
Triple play. Got a triple play going on.
What kind of hummingbirds are those?
Man, you got me.
Yeah, those I don't know because they're not the blue head, blue and green. I'm not sure. Is he in the chat?
I don't know. I haven't seen him yet, so I don't know.
I wonder where
beautiful photo. Okay, so and I'll looking at Daw says green in the background is a little strong for me. Rest of the photo is nice. So this is where we get into photos. I like it, and I'm not going to disagree with you, Daw. I mean, it's all in taste, but I'm one that likes saturation too. And I understand what you're saying. It may take away from the hummingbirds, the green back there being a little bit light. I'm guessing that's where light was striking, and the rest is in shadow back there. So it's a little hard to tone that down. But man,
yeah, you can tell the sun was kind of was high because both hummingbirds are shadowed underneath, so the sun was up pretty high. It looks like in the shot.
Yeah. The thing is, if you tried to darken up the green in the background, then you're going to darken up the green on the hummingbirds, and then that ain't going to look good. So you gotta find a balance. I think you found a good balance.
Well, you can get by that with masking.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha, Daw. Sorry about that. He was saying for the portrait, not this one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love the saturation. And then again, that's something I really like. And I know that isn't the norm for most people because especially the purists, you get into it with them about colors are too strong, too bold, it's too saturated. Well, it may be, but I like it.
Gustavo, thank you for telling us what the flower was. That was my next question.
Yes, sir. All right.
So Jeff and Leslie said that their app says it's a white-necked Jacobin hummingbird. Which
I just found it. I was looking it up. That's exactly what it is.
Nice photo, Luis. Very nice. I hope you're in here. You can appreciate everybody else liking the photo too, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Mark Weston. Everybody remember Mark from the last photo review with the black and white photo at the gas station?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was such an awesome photo.
I
I still think about that photo all the time.
Yep.
You could.
Nice,
he should probably offer to sell that to everybody on this channel. He'd probably make quite a bit of money.
It's just such a cool photo because you can just look at it forever.
Of course, I think Chuck already been selling it.
Jeffrey, don't give me any ideas. I'm running out of money. All the money I'm spending lately.
I think Chuck's already been selling that picture on the site anyway. I think.
Yeah, I have. Here's Luis. Let me put his comment up here real quick. Well, I thought I was going to put it up here. Here it is. I couldn't avoid the leaves. I would darken the leaves indeed. Luis, it's still a beautiful photo, man.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful photo. Glad you're in here to see it go up on the screen. Mark, if you're out there, and I'm sure you are, I like it. It's just another one of those photos. There isn't anything that's just, oh, this is the greatest or whatever. I just like it. I like the composition.
Hey, Luis, I'm going to plagiarize a line from a 1970 movie called Love Story. Love means never having to say you're sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious the location as well, Gustavo.
Yeah, what I like with this shot too is the street lights or the lighting is well controlled. It's not, the lights themselves are not blown out.
Yeah.
Yep. Hang on just a second. It's Mark.
Costa Rica is where that's at. Nice.
On the air. Okay, you're on live now, Mark. Tell us about your photo.
This is a photograph of a record and CD store it's on the campus of Odessa College. It was at one time a hamburger stand by the way, the 50s architecture tells you, with the sloped roofs and everything. And what I find interesting is that the windows are full of, what I call 60s art, 60s, 70s kind of art and everything.
Right.
And the lights that hang out on that kind of remind me of a 1950s sci-fi movie, and that's why I call it Endless Horizons Has Landed.
Yeah.
And it is, when I saw this, if you see this pit building in the daytime, it doesn't look like anything. But at nighttime, it comes to life.
Right. And you did a great job on the exposure, too, considering how black it is. Everything else is. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's a busy intersection, too, Odessa. And rather than shoot this as a straight verticals like you're supposed to do for architectural photography, I said that doesn't do anything for this building, and that's why I tilted it, and that's why we have the tilting angles. It harmonizes with the lines of the building.
No, it does, and even the lines in the parking lot. And that's what Gustavo was saying, man. This is full of leading lines.
Yeah,
and angles are always good.
Yeah.
So this is the way I shot this, and this picture has a little bit of a provenance. I submitted it to an art composition many years ago. It was curated by Edmund Pillsbury the Pillsbury fortune for the Amon Carter Museum and for some kind of art photography exhibit. And so it does have a little clarity or class to it. It's been recognized.
Nice.
So, all right, what'd you take it with?
Yeah, say it again. Hasselblad. You doing me your discog?
So is this Hasselblad? It's Hasselblad film?
Hasselblad camera and Kodacolor, Vericolor, 100 or 160 film.
It looks fantastic sorry, I got to zoom in a mile that's fantastic.
Super fine grain.
Yes. Wow. It looks great.
Yep.
Man, you got an eye, Mark. We spent way too much time on your photo last time because it was just so much to see.
It was.
So now I'm going to look forward to see what you come up with next because I like this as well. There's just something about it I like.
Yep. Good eye.
Well, I have had all the design and art coming out of my ears, and I know the rules. I know when to break the rules.
Yep.
And that's the trick.
Well, I see you got it right this time. Again, I like it. It just draws you into the photo. Great job, buddy. Nice shot on the Hasselblad too. I can't even imagine trying to get that exposure right on film. That's me. I know you old film guys out there probably think, well, it's not a big deal. But for me, I wouldn't even know where to begin. But
us old film guys could do that in our sleep, Chuck.
Yep. So Greg Wilson asks, how big could you print this? Mark, what do you think?
I put it usually about a 11-inch square, so it goes into a 16 by 20.
Okay.
Mounted board, museum board with a mat plate.
Well,
and I think it holds very well.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. Now that it's digitized, I can imagine the print.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Keep it going, man. We're looking forward to what you send next.
Yep.
Oh, I've got some wild things you won't believe.
I probably won't, but I can't wait to see it.
I want to see something. I want to see something from Area 51.
This almost has that vibe.
I'll give you a clue.
Yeah.
It has to be with colored dyes, a pink bathtub, and plastic slinkies and balloons,
All right.
and a Polaroid spectra camera. And it's kind of, it might be even considered by the prudish X-rated.
Well, now I got to see it, man. You got my interest piqued.
And you know who I kind of clued me on to the Polaroid spectra? The noted landscape photographer William Cliff.
Okay. All right.
If you ever get him on, you have got a cuckoo, because he does not like, he's very, very New England Yankee, very independent, and kind of recluse.
So you're going to share some developing techniques that go along with that photo with us. Is that correct?
It comes out what you get. It's kind of one of those things with Polaroid, and I took a lot of Polaroid.
Okay. All right.
But I have a little series. It's amazing.
All right. Can't wait to see it.
Cool.
All right.
All right, brother. Anybody got any questions for Mark before he goes?
Oh, we could question them all night long, but
it goes for the chat too.
We don't want to keep them up late.
All right, Mark. Thanks again for another great submission, man. Looking forward to the next one, brother.
Okay.
Hey, have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Mr. Mark, he continues to surprise us. Where's Roy? Roy, I figured Roy'd be all over this film and all. All right, Millerad, you're up, Millerad. And I thought this was a beautiful photo.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
No pun intended. A stellar photo.
Yeah. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, the greens in it are neat.
Yeah.
That looks like something you'd see at the Hayden Planetarium at the American Museum of Natural History in New York.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I wonder how big he could print this.
And he took it in February of 2020 in the Philippines. Yeah.
Just before the lockdown started. Wow.
Yeah. Beautiful.
From Nightscape.
And obviously, wherever he was in the Philippines, there was no light pollution when he took that photo.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, that's definitely.
How large could you print that, Millerad? I just have a feeling this would be a great giant print.
Yeah, I'm curious of what that green glow is from myself.
Well, he's too far south toward the equator to get the northern lights, so.
Yeah.
I thought David might have something to say about it, too. I know it's not northern lights.
Is that on the island of Cebu, Santos City?
He just says it can be printed. Printed big.
Yeah.
Man, I could see that in about a 3x6 foot print for a wall, man. Or even in a studio, as crazy as I am, wallpaper. I think that would be cool.
Hey, Mindanao. Oh, wow. Down where all the Muslim separatists are killing people. You're a brave guy, dude.
All right. So what did you use to shoot this, Millerad? By all means, if you guys want to call in whenever, I know some people they aren't in the States and they can't call, but if you are and you'd like to call and talk about your photo, by all means do so. The phone number is scrolling along the bottom of the screen there. Oh, his wife is from there. Okay.
From Mindanao.
Yeah, Long Rider. There have been some nice images. See, this is the kind of stuff that inspires me to get off my behind and go out and do some of this, because you see such a bunch of different, and a 21.8 G. Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, that 20 millimeter is perfect for astrophotography.
Yep.
That's great. I love it. Actually, I like it. This is one of those photos I think I'd like to see it stand back from it in a large print and really look at it.
What was the exposure time on this? Does he say, Chuck?
No, but it's not going to be too long because I see nothing.
Yeah, there's no trailing.
Nope. So maybe a higher ISO. I don't know, but yeah, it's beautiful. All right.
A lot of great detail in that shot.
Thanks, Millerad. Nice photo, man. Very nice photo.
15
seconds.
That's it. That's it. That's the limit without any star trailing.
Yeah, that's about it.
And David asked how many photos in the stack. So,
and no Tamron lens. Greg Wilson, we're done with that conversation.
ISO 3200. It is beautiful. So is that a one shot? I mean, one frame. That's fantastic for one frame.
One photo.
That's
One photo. Yeah.
Good job, man. Good job. All right. Hey, thanks for sharing it with us, man. It's beautiful. Hope to see more.
Not stacked.
I feel like watching a sci-fi movie right now.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah.
What we need.
I'm waiting for the Starship Enterprise and the music.
No. The endless whatever. We need to take Mark Weston's building and put it in this. I think that'd be cool. All right, Millerad. Thank you very much, man.
Well done.
Very good. Very, very
All
good.
right. Ray Powell. Ray, are you in here? I know it's awfully late, so I don't know if Ray's going to be in here or not. I hope so. This is Ray's photo. He sent me a photo of a bee, but I don't know what or how it was saved or whatever, but I just couldn't get it to come up on the screen. So he sent me this as a backup. Beautiful flower with I don't know what kind of fly it is on it, but he's doing a lot of macro stuff. So he's having a ball doing macro and doing it all handheld.
That's the fly that was feeding on the blood clot on my head today.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But
yeah, it looks like some type of a wasp of some sort.
Yeah, it's kind of strange that it's in a flower.
Not with those eye things. That's a fly or some kind.
Is it? Okay, I can't quite make it out. I was wondering if it was.
Yeah, look at the size of the eyes. That's a fly.
There we go. Yeah, you're right. Yep, I see it now.
Nice job, Ray. Nice job. I guess you'll see this.
You'll around when you're trying to take the pictures.
You'll see it tomorrow. I know that it's late for him, so he's usually out early. All right.
Calligrapher hoverfly, I think, according to Jeff.
Interesting.
Cool.
Never heard of that one.
I love having all you experts in here.
Jeff and Leslie will identify all the flowers and all the bugs. That'll guarantee you that.
All right. Ronald Pollard.
There's a golf shot.
There we go.
So this is one of the shots that he took over the weekend. He said use this one, and there's another one. He wanted to show the Z9 skin tones, so I'll show that coming up here. But
he's got the golf ball in flight.
Yep. There it is. So shutter speed is what caught this. This is not
that's not from a slow readout of
right. So
that's
I don't know
what shutter speed.
Yeah, I don't know what his shutter speed was, but the club is pretty much frozen. But I think at this point, the club slowed down considerably compared to the ball.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's a pretty highly lofted club too. That's probably somewhere around an 8 or a 9 iron, maybe even a wedge. So he's approaching the green. You can also tell, but you can tell by the how quickly the ball launched.
Yeah,
that's an 8-9 or wedge of some kind.
Some JM. So yeah, and this is straight out of camera, by the way, guys. That's what he wanted to make sure that I brought up.
And that is not the ball that hit me today, by the way.
Okay, so here's another one. This is crowd, and he wanted to show this. This is straight out of camera. So this is the tones that you're getting out of the Z9. I don't know exactly what settings he had, but this is a JPEG also, by the way.
Yeah, the tones are perfect.
Yeah. a nice sunburn on the arm there. One person.
I didn't know Ron was a little bit of a voyeur here, but I like it.
Yeah, I think it's real good. Real good job, Ron. Thanks, man, for sharing them with us. So the embargo was lifted and he could share. Here we go, Mr. ATR Bear or Ted. I'm guessing this was out on the island.
Yeah, that is out on Long Island, Chuck.
Yep.
I like the color in the ears.
Yeah, with the sun. Yep.
That's really nice with the light hitting it.
Mm-hmm. Ted, are you in here, buddy? I don't know if he's in or not.
I didn't see him sign in, Chuck.
Okay. I saw him earlier before we actually went live, I think.
Yeah, Long Rider, if I ever see you on a golf course riding your bike across the greens, I'll be hitting golf balls at you.
And then Tim Hunter, this is the last photo, guys, that I have that was submitted.
Well, you didn't get mine, Chuck?
You know what? I'll go back out and look.
I sent you one as well.
All right. And I know you guys did what I asked, I'm sure, and put the some Saturday night review or something in the subject line. I just went through even this morning, I went through about 150 emails just to make sure. That's how many. I need to clear out a bunch of the clutter that I have as far as emails go. Well, let me go back up here. Let me do it this way. All right.
Is this near like the site of the Tokyo Olympics?
Here's Daryl Harrington's photo that I did not cover. Let me throw that up there real quick. Daryl, sorry.
Or do you just resend it to you, Chuck? Is that easier?
Yeah.
I just resent mine, Chuck.
Okay.
Curtis Pre-40 Warhawk.
So there's a little bit of a crop on it. It's a panning shot too, which I kind of like with the trees, believe it or not, in the bottom. I love that there's motion in the propeller, which gives it which tells you that it's a panning shot because of the slow shutter speed. I like it, man. I like that he's captured the pilot in here. Great. You guys look at that for a minute. Let me go let me go pull these other photos up. And I'm just going to pull these up one at a time, put it up on the screen. Mr. David Moots.
A lot of people don't realize that the P-51 Mustang was the natural successor to the Curtis P-40 Warhawk. And the initial P-51 that North American built for the British had the same engine as the P-40. And the airplane was actually a failure at anything above 15,000 feet. So they decided to take the Allison engine, which was not a turbo supercharged engine, from out of the initial P-51, and put in the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, which had a two-stage supercharger, and made the airplane the phenomenal fighter that it was later in the war.
Right.
P-40 was really dangerous against the Japanese Zero. The Flying Tigers flew those. That's why you see the tiger shark mouth.
Yeah.
And the reason that it was so successful against the Japanese Zero is because the Japanese Zero didn't have self-sealing gas tanks in the wings. The American fighter aircraft had self-sealing gas tanks, so they'd be punctured by enemy rounds, but the tank would reseal. The incendiary rounds that they used in the 50 caliber out of the P-40s would puncture the Japanese fuel tanks and set the tanks on fire.
Yeah, those are awesome planes. I love those.
I love the sound of reciprocating engines. You know, I retired out of the Air Force, but I love reciprocating engines.
I remember when I was a kid, boy, there was a lot of models that they sold.
Oh,
these planes for you to make.
Yeah, Jeff and Leslie, the Packard Merlin was a direct license from Rolls-Royce because Rolls-Royce didn't have the production capability to support the Spitfire production and the Mustang production.
That's just plain cool, says Greg Wilson.
All right.
That airplane, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is normally parked at the Museum of Aviation at the old Mitchell Air Force Base in Uniondale, Long Island, which is now used by Nassau County Community College, my alma mater, Hofstra University.
Let me see. And they did not get added. So
yeah, it's mine's there, Chuck. I see it. It's like the fifth one over.
Thank you, Gustavo. I appreciate the comment.
Yeah.
D Moots Photography. Well, I don't know if you can get any crisper. That's fantastic, man.
That was taken in the evening time. If you look at the catch light in the eyes, it's 2 4-foot LED shop lights I had mounted outside. It was kind of dark, but it was getting kind of dark, and I had 2 4-foot lights, and within like a foot of that hummingbird to light them up. That was taken with a D500 and a 500 f4 lens.
Yeah, the Air Power Museum is at the old Mitchell Air Force Base. We're at the home of Nassau Community College in Hofstra.
Beautiful, David. Beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's tack sharp from the top of the head right down to the bottom of the tail. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
And I like catching hummingbirds when they're making, I do a lot of in-flight stuff as well too, but I like them when they perch and catch them with different little characters.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Awesome shot.
Well done, David.
All right. Oh, here we go. Wonder who this is.
It's Mr. Monogram Butterfly.
It's
Looks
Mr.
familiar.
Jeffrey. Mr. Jeffrey.
The Eastern Tiger Swallowtail.
Yeah, nice.
Very nice.
Now, I had taken one that I almost sent in where it was on, but it was very busy. It had a lot of color where the wings were out all the way. You know, it was a straight shot with the wings open.
Yeah.
Hey,
But this one I kind of liked because it wasn't quite as busy as the other one. So I decided to send this one in. I mean, the other one really pops, but some people would consider it a little too busy, I think. But
hey,
No,
Jeffrey, do you mind if I take this and just run it through? I just want to run it through Topaz Denoise. Do you mind if I do that?
no, go ahead. I mean, I did run it through it.
Oh, did you? Okay. I just wondered.
But that's at ISO 2800. Okay. It wasn't a very good day. That's
Okay.
at, that was at 2500th of a second at f7.1 at ISO 2800 with the 100 to 400 Z lens without a teleconverter, just the lens itself.
Okay. Well, no, then.
But you can try running it through again, see if it helps it. But I mean, I did run it through it.
I think, it's beautiful, and I can't imagine what it was. I would imagine that Topaz Denoise brought it up to this, which is beyond acceptable. I mean, it's great, but I just wondered if it would actually smooth the background anymore, or not anymore. But if you hadn't run it through it, then I thought we'd give it a try. I just wanted to see.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those images that is just on the border of, man, I wonder what Topaz would do. But if you've already run it, then that means, at 2800 ISO, I'm sure that it cleaned it up a lot. But beautiful.
Gustavo asked what lens you used, Jeff. That was the 100 to 400 Z?
Yeah, the 1 to 400 Z, yeah.
That's a good lens.
I'm stuck using that right now. My 500 PF would have been my preferred choice, but that's still in the shop.
Yeah.
I mean, Nikon lenses have to go back to the shop?
My 500 did. I think I wore it out. I think I wore out the autofocus motor, and they have no parts, so I'm waiting for parts.
Is there anybody else that had sent a photo and I just didn't happen to get it? I don't know why I missed yours, David, and yours, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
but again, like I said, sorting through all the emails, as I go on and this continues to grow, I'm going to have a dedicated email for the channel itself.
I was just going to suggest that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, I think I might have sent you pictures, but since I had an impact injury today, I don't remember.
Okay. I don't remember seeing anything from you, Paul, other than the other thing.
Chuck, that was a lame attempt at a joke. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
All right.
I'm going to send you the other one, Chuck, that I was telling you about that I think was maybe a little too busy for some people. But if you want to show it, that's up to you. But I'll send it to you now.
Rakesh said
same butterfly, different angle.
Hey, Jeffrey, inquiring minds want to know, namely Jeff and Leslie want to know if you dropped your 500 PF into the marsh.
Oh, hey, Rakesh, I just found your photo. I didn't see it at first. I had to actually open it here. I'm sorry.
I didn't drop it in the marsh. I think I just basically wore it out, to be honest with you. I use it so much.
Okay, Jeff and Leslie, whether you believe Jeffrey or not, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I do lie once in a while.
Just not to your wife, right?
No, that I can honestly say I do not do.
Yeah, that's deadly doing stuff like that. Not that I would know, since I always dodge that bullet, but
no.
Wow, that one put my eyes out, Jeffrey. It's beautiful.
That's a great shot, Jeffrey. I'm jealous.
Getting them moved, folks. Hang on just a second. Got to download and move.
I was going to say, you're already showing it on the screen because I don't see it.
Okay.
No, I think he just saw it come in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't put it up yet.
Now I got to go out, come back. Here we go, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yeah, there you go. That one's nice.
Beautiful. So what kind of butterfly again?
The Eastern Tiger Swallowtail.
All right.
This one's nice because you can get the blues in there now. More of them.
Yep.
That's not a Navy pilot practicing his carrier qualifications on the Nimitz.
Now, when do they migrate? When do they head south?
I really couldn't tell you. It's like when I'm in this place is called, and I misnamed it on my video. It's not Brookfield Gardens, it's Brook Green Gardens. And
Okay.
it's within a mile of the Huntington Beach State Park where I do the birding. So, I mean, it's basically just down the road. And actually, the Huntington Beach State Park is leased to the state by the Huntington. Well, I don't know if there's any relatives left of the Huntington family, but the Huntingtons, the wife was a famous sculptress, and Brook Green Gardens has probably 1,000 sculptures everywhere inside and outside of buildings. A lot of them are mythology based, and then they have a lot of flowers planted everywhere. So it's kind of a combination of a sculpture museum, I guess you could say, as well as a botanical gardens. And then you have the old, what was the old rice fields, and you have a boat that could take you on a tour if you want to go on a boat tour. So there's so much there to see, and there's so many acres. You could be there all day and wear yourself down where you can't walk for 2 days afterwards. It's just that big. But you could find birds there, and obviously a lot of butterflies.
So Jeff's saying that he doesn't think that these migrate. I didn't know. I thought all butterflies migrated, but now I know better. Yeah, monarchs migrate.
Yeah, I think the monarchs are in danger right now too, from what I've read. Their numbers are.
That's nice.
Mr. Rakesh. Nice capture.
Where's that at? Is he in here?
Yeah, he's in here.
Yeah, oh yeah, he is. Where was that taken at? Since this was hummingbird night, Chuck, I sent you another one if you want to show it. You don't have to, but if you want to load it up if you run out. I could send you photos all night.
Greg's saying, do I go by Jeff or Jeffrey? Well, the quick story on that is when I would get in trouble, my mom would call me Jeffrey. When I wasn't in trouble, it was Jeff. So you could decide which way you want to go with that.
There you go. He says that's how Yosemite. That's a nice shot.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
D850 with the Tamron 100 to 400.
What was the neutral density? What was the how many step neutral density filter did you use on that?
I don't think he had to, but we'll see. He can tell us, but because it's not frozen like glass. I like the way he's allowed some of the spray and things rather than
kind of in between. He didn't freeze it and he didn't make it look like milk either. He's got it like in between.
Yeah, I wonder what are.
He did not use a neutral density filter. Just slowed down the shutter speed.
Oh yeah, there it loaded in there. I see it.
Where did it?
Very first one.
Good.
Since it's hummingbird night, there's you another one.
Is I'm going to get this wrong only because it's a ruby throated. No, it's not ruby throated.
Yeah, that's a ruby throated. Yeah, that's the only ones we have here in our area. Yeah,
I don't know how he gets these pictures where he gets the name underneath the you know. I don't know how he does that.
That's floating out there.
David, are you sure David, you sure he's not crapping on you?
I have some of those do that. I have that floating out there off the stick.
That's great, buddy. That is great.
That's another D500 shot.
Look at the texture on that throat, though. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Looks like armor.
It does. Yeah. Almost like orange chainmail.
Yeah. Some of my favorite birds to photograph are hummingbirds. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a D850 shot.
Beautiful. Man.
Yeah, and I like it when the back, I kind of partial to the green backgrounds. I always like the green, you know?
Yeah, I've got all my perches just placed just right to where the trees that are across a parking lot from my house, my backyard, that's what you're seeing there. They're way off in the distance.
We had good pictures tonight, as always.
Next week, I'll send a picture of my head.
And we got through them before midnight.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get as many this time. We got to get people. Come on, step it up, guys. You got to send more pictures the next time.
That looks like a National Geographic photo.
So yeah, that's my photo for tonight.
Nice.
There you go.
Well done, Chuck.
I just took photos of her 1-year-old here yesterday. No, day before yesterday.
Look at the texture on. Look at the texture on the scarf and the shroud she's wearing. I mean,
yeah.
So we were taking photos of her and her husband and their other baby, and who is now a little older. But anyway, and I said, okay, I did this for you. Now you got to do something for me. And I pulled out these scarves that I got from Afghanistan and brought back. And I wrapped her up in it. She goes, really? This is what you want me to do? And I said, absolutely.
Hey, man, it's beautiful.
And you got the perfect backdrop too.
Yeah. Hey, how many lights did you have there?
I don't know. I can't remember, but it turned out well. I enjoyed it and, had a good time. It was another experimenting with lights. You can see the catch lights in her eyes.
Yeah. No, the colors and the skin tone, everything it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, she's a beautiful girl, and her skin is just, it's one of those deals that you want to shoot models like that all day long, because no matter what light you use, it's just butter,
Yeah. You almost can't take a bad picture probably with her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I like about the catch lights, Chuck, is it's not that artificial ring light type look. It's perfect catch light without the ring light that you see in a lot of studio shots.
Because I shot it with 2 strip lights on either side, and used a beauty dish to just kick in that little bit right on her forehead. If you can't see it because I don't think I can get it close enough. You can see it, not here. Maybe, yeah, maybe. So you can see the beauty dish up here with a hole in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just fun. We were just playing with lights. After we finished with their portraits, I said, well, hang on, let me set up a couple of lights. Now you can do this for me. But anyway, I had to throw a photo up here.
Yeah, it looks great.
Steve McCurry shot. He found the Afghan girl originally shot in 1985, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's a Latina.
Hey, Chuck, is that wall that color, or did you gel it?
No,
or it's that color.
That wall doesn't even have that texture on it. So after the fact, yeah,
gotcha.
it's just a basic concrete wall. I did it against a concrete wall, and then added the texture, and then colored it. So yeah, it came out real well.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, very nice.
The texture, I mean, I think that really adds to the photo too. If it would have just been a plain wall with no texture.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
I don't think it would have been as good. Yeah.
And I was on that kick at the time, looking at backgrounds and trying to decide, playing with different. I've got a whole bunch of a whole bunch of photos that are nothing but textures. At the time,
Yeah.
I was walking around everywhere taking photos of textures. And anyway, yeah, I just wanted to play with it, and that was my shtick there for a while.
Yeah, that's
Outside,
awesome.
just taking portraits for them. All right, man. We had a bunch of photos in here today, and I really appreciate everybody submitting all the photos. It's been fantastic. You guys rock, man. Beautiful photos, David. Everybody, beautiful photos. I think one of my favorites, just because I'm kind of a weirdo that way, is Millerad's photo of the Milky Way.
Yeah, no, that was a cool shot.
Yeah, and like I said, I would actually make wallpaper out of that. I don't know where I'd put it, but there's for some reason I want to put that on a wall.
Well, like I said, I like the greens that were in it. As you
Yep.
can tell, I like greens in my background. A
Yep.
lot of the shots I do have that in there. So that's the first thing that caught my eye on his photo was that green.
Yep. All right, gentlemen. So
applaud everybody.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna get to bed early tonight.
Everybody, we got through them. I hope we didn't go too fast. I just wanted to make sure that we did get through them. So anybody feels like they were ripped off, we'll go back and revisit your photo. But thanks so much. And again, we're going to do this if everybody's in favor of it. This is kind of your all's idea. We're just going to do it the first Saturday of every month. So the next one will be on, and I don't know. I have to look here. When will it be? In October. I don't care about this thing. Get out of my way. No, don't allow. No. October. So the first Saturday in October happens to be the 1st. So October 1st will be our next photo review for everybody that wants to submit a photo. And I would encourage everybody to do it, man. I'm really pleased with what you guys are showing. I mean, it's fantastic. And the thing about it is it kind of inspires everybody, especially since we don't have a theme, meaning we get to see such a varied bunch of subjects and things like that. And it kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone to go out, wow, I've always thought about doing this or that, and I want to go do it now. Thanks, Millerad. Don't tempt me, man. Don't tempt me. That's another project I don't need, but yeah, I really do like it though. I think it's neat. David Stewart, are the photos posted on? What do you mean, David?
I think he's asking if there's a place where all the photos are posted.
No, I'll tell you what, and I was going to bring that up, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I mean, obviously, I'm gonna definitely fill up some storage with the photos. So I put them all in one folder for each month. And I've done that so far, and I'll continue to do that. And that way I can just take the photo into ACR, open it up with all your photos and go through them that way. But at some point, I need to get rid of them and free space up. So what I thought I would do is keep them for the last month until we go through next month's and get rid of last month's. This is making sense, or am I confusing everyone? And keep this month's. In other words, 1 month back, I'll always have, just in case somebody wants their photo or for whatever reason. And I can do that with no problem.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that.
Okay. That's okay, Millerad. I do appreciate that, but as much as I'd like to print it, I know I'm not going to get around to doing it because we are moving, and that's the last thing I need is about a 6x9 photo, which I would print. My wife said, "Where do you think you're putting that in the new house?" I don't know. Oh man,
just not in the garage, Chuck.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Albert, for everybody that participated. Albert, did you send a photo? I don't remember. No. Hope to see some of your stuff too, man. So everybody, don't worry about. You can see we're not in here critiquing and picking things apart. We're just talking about what we like, and there's so many of these photos that you just like. You want to look at. You want to sit and look at. It keeps your attention. And I'd encourage everybody to participate. I don't know how many we can get through in a night. We definitely can't start off with, the Tamron licensing thing or anything else. That was 30 minutes well spent twice over. Gustavo wants me to show them all one more time. Just go through them real quick, which I can do. Let's pull them up here. So we got them here. I'm going to try to do it this way. It should work.
Can you do it as a slideshow?
Yeah, I think you can advance. Oh, that's a new one. Is that?
Yeah, I didn't see that one before.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
That one came from Canada.
That's Charles Davis.
Charles,
picture,
hey. There's nothing wrong with that picture, Charles. He says, no sense in keeping mine. No, that's not true.
Nice texture in that photo. Nice lighting of the texture.
Yeah.
To have that one color pop right in the middle is nice. Very nice.
Canadians would be proud of you, Charles. Looks like the center of their flag.
Yeah, Chuck's got a phone call.
It's the pizza delivery guy who's been looking for Chuck's house for the last 3 hours.
He's been up there ringing the doorbell.
I gotta
Chuck, don't accept the pizza. Chuck, don't take the pizza. It's cold by now.
I'll be back in a second. I got dog issue here.
Dog's probably like, let me out.
David, come on. I made a joke. You had to take me to task for that?
Hey, Charles, you can call right back, man. Yeah, just call me right back and we'll try it again. I don't know what happened to my... All right, hang on. All right, Charles, you there? What is going on here? I don't know why my...
Hero shot, so I just...
Oh, hang on, Charles. Hang on a second. Hang on. All right, let's try it again. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a real old photo. My first DSLR, my first Nikon, I'm going to say 15 years ago. It's a D80 with the 18-135 kit lens. I don't think it's a great photo or anything, but it was on a trip up north, vacation. It was kind of dark, so it had slow shutter speed and everything. It was a Nikon D80, 18-135, 5.6 and 80th of a second at 135 millimeter at ISO 800, which was kind of tough because it was kind of like after a rain and kind of dark. But the reason I sent this one was just a reminder that take your camera with you and take photos, even if they're not something amazing. It doesn't have to be, a paid shoot of a fantastic model or a super fantastic this or that. This just kind of, I don't know. I saw when I was copying stuff over to my new computer, and it just reminded me of a simpler time. And it's a photo I like, although I know it's nothing fantastic about it.
Well, I like it too, man. And it's pretty daggone crisp for low light and handheld, I got to tell you.
Well, I learned a long time ago about set my feet apart and dig my elbow into my gut. Well, I didn't have much of a gut back then, but, I learned how to stand, all the basic stuff. And I don't know, like I said, it just reminds me of a simpler time. And I did take it into was a Lightroom or 0-in-1. Anyway, I desaturated everything around the leaf a little bit and tried to bring out the black texture in the asphalt underneath everything.
Yeah, looks nice.
But
Yeah, that was my photo.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know how I missed it, but I'm sorry, but we had to get
That's
it in
all
there,
right.
brother.
That's all right. I'm glad you pulled it up.
And that's the whole thing about this again. It's just about us sharing some photos here with everybody, and maybe we inspire each other, again.
Now, well, there's a lot of stuff out there to shoot. It doesn't. I mean, sometimes the simplest thing is just caught my eye. I was walking along the path, probably a rest area or something, and
Yeah.
it's just like that red just jumped out at me, laying on all these dead leaves. I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely,
Right.
man.
Good job.
Oh,
Thanks for sharing it with us.
okay. All righty. Well, I'll let you get back to the group.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
Have a good one, Carl.
Yeah. The simplest photos are many times the best.
Yeah. Back P51,
P40.
P40. That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
You heard me wrong.
P40.
You got hit with that golf ball, remember, Paul? You don't remember what you just heard,
I heard him say -11.
Yeah. All right.
I like that shot there.
I do too.
Especially because you can read the jersey. It's not just a straight top down on the head shot.
Yep.
He's leaning forward.
And the non-migrating butterfly. See, I learned something tonight.
Yeah. They just die, not to make anybody cry. They just die.
Poor butterfly.
Wah.
Beautiful.
You're like, hey.
That bird is telling Paul Connors to shut up.
I've got a bunch of hummingbird photos somewhere that I'm going to run across whenever we do this storage discussion. And I have to dig into all the external hard drives I have. I want to pull up.
Oh, God. I tell you, when the hummingbirds are here, I go crazy when they're here.
Yeah. Praying mantis.
I'll tell you, I haven't seen, when I lived in New England, I mean, my yard would always be full of praying mantises, and I have not seen one down here in Myrtle Beach. And
I haven't seen
praying
a
mantis,
lot up
not
here.
one.
I haven't seen a lot of them up here either, though. Jeffrey, used to see them as a kid all the time down south, but I don't even know if maybe there's something going on with praying mantis.
They're pretty thick around here in Kansas here, and walking sticks as well.
Yeah.
We have them all the time.
I'll see grasshoppers down here that are so big, I think they could lift up a car.
There's Gustavo's.
Yep. Gustavo's painting.
Yep.
Charles Davis, the female praying mantis kills the male mate after they mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, this is another one of those. This is one of those hotel photos, one of those stock photos for a hotel.
Yeah.
I have to disagree with that, Chuck. There's not a hotel in the world that deserves a photo like that.
True enough. And Jeff's photo that I got totally wrong earlier. Sorry about that. One of the Jeffs. Fantastic reach though with the talons.
You sure that's not an F-18 doing a carrier qual?
Could be.
I love this snow owl photo.
Yeah. That's actually another one of those, I see hotel photos. I'm one of those kind of people, when I go to a hotel, I'm staying there, I'm always looking at their stock
I do that too.
or whatever. And every now and then you actually see something that you really like.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll tell you what, if this was in a hotel, I'd steal that photo.
Yeah.
And the frame that came in it with it.
So yeah, we've seen some beautiful photos tonight. Really,
I love the color in this one. The color is phenomenal. I love this.
I do too.
Yep. I wish I had those hummingbirds in my backyard.
I love watching them fight.
Yeah.
I love watching hummingbirds and fight with bees. And
yeah, sometimes they fly backwards and they just stare at the bee. Like, what are you doing? Get off my feeder.
of course, Mark Weston's photo, Endless Horizons. Need to take that and somehow embed that into, or do a composite into that Milky Way photo.
Yeah, there you go.
You are here.
It has that kind of vibe to it. Like yeah.
I like what he said. He's right. The little antenna on top, like the lights. It's almost a daddy long legs thing going on here.
Yeah, that's like Jeffrey said he wanted to see an Area 51 photo. This kind of has that vibe as well.
Yep.
Like something you
did he happen to say? Did he happen to say where he took that photo?
Yeah, it was in Costa Rica, I think he said.
Mr. Stroud, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Chuck. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. I was just going to comment on that photograph.
Okay.
Yeah, that was shot in North Dakota, just south of Canadian border.
Okay, wait a minute. Where are we at? Oh, right here.
There you go. Right there.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was minus 45
It looks it.
degrees.
Oh, you can have that, man.
And I broke every rule. It was shot with a 600 f4 with a 1x4 on it.
Yep.
With a Canon 5D Mark II, 100 ISO, 1/200th of a second handheld.
Wow.
What time of day?
I was lucky.
What time of day, David's asking?
It was about 10 in the morning.
Okay. I thought it seemed like a morning shot. Yeah. Yeah, it does look cold too.
Is it
it's
a lot of blowing snow?
Yeah, it was. And shooting the shutter speed so slow like that, it didn't freeze any of it too good. If you zoom in, you can kind of see the snow a little bit, but it's really the colors are really pastel, like
Yeah.
Well, if I have to be in minus 40 to get a shot like that, I'll never get one.
The wind was blowing so hard. That's why it kind of has that ethereal look to it a little bit.
Yeah. I think we all liked it.
Yeah, thank you.
We pulled it up. So
there were some good ones tonight.
Now you got a great dog photo and an owl photo. What are you going to do next?
I'll send you a swamp deer.
Okay. All right.
All right, man. Well, y'all had some good ones on there tonight. I won't keep y'all.
All right. Thanks, Joe, for calling.
Joe. Good one.
Beautiful photo, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now that is not a North Dakota accent.
No, not at all.
I should know I was stationed in that godforsaken state, Grand Forks Air Force Base, for a while.
So looking at it, you can just see the on the horizon here, just one little peak of land and maybe a light that's out there, but you can see the clouds here too.
Is that what that is? The cloud? I couldn't tell.
I believe so. I don't think it's any kind of an outcropping of any sort. I think it's clouds.
I thought it was a tree. Maybe I couldn't tell. But yeah.
No, that's a cloud.
Yeah, that's cloud. Yeah.
That greenish tinge might be some light pollution.
Light pollution usually comes up orange, yellow.
Yeah, that's weird. I've never seen the green like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
be curious to what was causing that.
Fluorescent lighting.
Yeah.
Beautiful photo, though. There's Ray's photo that we determined is a fly of some sort.
Hover fly, was it?
Yeah, that's the fly that was feeding off my blood clot this afternoon.
There you go. There you go. And Mr. Ronald Pollard. Straight out of camera. Beautiful color.
Ron had a good time, even though it wore him out. That's for sure.
Yeah. Ted's deer out on Long Island. Who says New York City doesn't have deer?
Millerad said his Milky Way shot was taken early morning, facing Indonesia.
Oh, okay.
Chuck, that photo was taken out in Suffolk County. That's not even. You're not even near New York City at that point.
What, out on Long Island?
That's Suffolk County. I mean, you get
buddy, you're getting way too technical for us Southerners. Anything in that 40-mile circle is New York City.
Well, that's outside that 40-mile circle, sir.
Okay.
I grew up in Suffolk County. Remember, Ted and I went to the same high school.
Right. That's right. Okay.
He was 3 years behind me in high school.
And the pagoda, I don't know. I like the long. It's really interesting. I mean, see the people moving in it, and they're not really walking. They're just kind of standing there moving. So, these people, I don't know if you guys can see it here. They're walking, of course, but they're walking away from the camera. So,
yeah, that's cool.
How did it not overexpose? So I'm wondering, what time of the day was it? Because this is a long exposure, obviously,
to
try to clear the crowd. So I'm just wondering how he did it.
Well, you know, that's back when I was in high school. We had some people came that were supposedly ghost hunters. And many years later, of course, you realize that more than likely those weren't ghosts. It was just the effect that you see in that picture there, just using a real slow shutter speed. Yeah. And you can make everybody look like a ghost if you want to.
All right, guys. That was great. That was fantastic tonight. Let's see.
Was that whose shot was the pagoda?
Let's see.
Is that Tim Hunter? Was that his shot?
I don't know. Hang on.
He was just commenting he didn't think he got his photo, but then he said, no, he got it.
It is yours, Tim. We were just talking about it. 5 p.m. is when he shot it. Okay.
30
seconds.
Yeah.
Did you have an ND filter on it? Of course, 5 p.m. I guess if it was
probably didn't need it.
Yeah, he might not need it. Huh.
So was that your intent, Tim, to try to get rid of the crowd because it was just so busy, just to get the pagoda or the building? Shot on his D500.
Yeah, I'm almost glad. I mean, if he intended to get rid of the people, I'm almost glad they're in there because I think that makes the shot.
Yeah,
I like that type of photography.
Okay, great. D500, 5 p.m., 30-second exposure. Yeah, it just seems like with the 30-second exposure, man, it's letting in a lot of light. So it must have been pretty dim or gloomy or whatever.
Oh, see, 10 stop.
Yeah,
10 stop neutral density.
Yeah,
I was gonna say almost had to have had something on there.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of those people must have been standing, but swaying enough to blur out. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones in the front were probably the most stationary ones are the ones that are less blurry,
Okay.
They're right in the front.
Ghost effect going to the train station. Okay.
Yeah. It's nice. I like it.
Well done, Tim.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Getting out of the box, buddy. That's what you got to do.
Train station entrance. Okay. All right. Where at, Tim? Did you say that already? Did I miss that?
Kanazawa Prefecture, Japan.
Okay. So he's in the Nikon zone there in Japan. All right, man. All right. Again, thanks to everybody tonight for the photos. It's been great.
Good submissions.
Well done, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Millerette, I'll pull it up here in a minute. Let me get out of this for a minute. Let's take a break from this. I think Jeffrey was getting claustrophobic. Oh man. All right, guys.
Sometimes I just feel boxed in. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. All right, so it's time for me to go take another trip, but we're going to hang in there for a little bit, and if Miller Ed sends that photo, we'll pull it up and look at it. But yeah, you guys want to continue with the photo discussion, or do you want to talk about something else? You guys decide, and I will be right back. I might even bring a brownie back with me.
I want to see more Good and Plenty, not M&Ms this time.
I don't like Good and Plenty, so you're not going to see those. But
all right, then no peanut M&Ms, Chuck.
Yeah, well, I don't
Charles,
know.
have a good night, Charles. Charles is taking off.
Yep, have a good one, Charles.
Hey, thanks for participating, Charles. And I'm sorry I skipped over your photo there at first, and glad we did get back to it. But thanks again, buddy.
Thank you, Charles.
All right. All right, guys. I shall be right back. Don't burn the house down while I'm gone.
Shucks, I was practicing my arsonist skills.
Yeah. I too shall be right back.
Yeah, I don't want to burn mine down. There were, unfortunately, we had a unit, like 4, like townhouses, grouped in one building, like a 4-unit, and got hit by lightning and burned them all down not too long ago.
Near where you live now?
Yeah, like a block, like maybe not even a minute from my house. We got a combination of houses and duplexes and small townhomes that are joined together, like four in a group. So we got a mix of everything where we live. So yeah, one end unit got struck by lightning, and then it spread fast and took everybody out. I mean, nobody got hurt, but I mean, it ruined their homes. They haven't knocked it down yet. I'm sure that's an insurance company nightmare, especially if everybody doesn't want to do the same thing. I don't know what you do if 2 people want to rebuild and 2 people just want to cash out, get the money, and move somewhere else. That could be quite a mess.
Doesn't the HOA have something to say about that?
No, I don't think I think they're, as far as I know, they're just staying out of it. But it's at some point they got to knock it down. It's not repairable. So I don't know how long they give the insurance company to try to work everything out. But we unfortunately, we found out that we live in an area, and we had lightning strike our backyard, and it wiped out like 30 of my low voltage lights in my yard. And they all got wiped out, and the lightning, it just, traveled through the ground, went in the wire, damaged my transformer, wiped out 2/3 of the lights I had in the yard. And I didn't appreciate that. $30 a pop.
When I was stationed down in Savannah, Georgia, I had a friend who lived on Wilmington Island, and he had 2 like super large TVs get basically destroyed by lightning strikes on his house. The TVs were blown up, but after the second TV, I don't know how big the TVs were, but they were huge. They just insurance company says you got to put lightning rods on your house, and he did. And by the way, Albert, the deer photograph was not taken on Fire Island; it was taken out in Suffolk County. Now, Fire Island sticks off of Suffolk County, but that was taken actually on the mainland of Long Island, not Fire Island. Gustavo, no, I did not get any intel on the next shipment. I was not speaking to Nikon rep. I was speaking to a Tamron rep earlier.
Yeah, the only thing I can say about that is Nikon Rumors had a comment that another shipment of 800s did come to the States, and Becky and Con talked about it on the Gray's live stream, and said the same thing.
UK is getting basically screwed over. I mean, most of the shipments go to China first, then to us, and the UK and mainland Europe are a distant third.
Oh yeah, they I feel bad for them. I mean, they've got people that who knows how long they're going to be waiting to get some of their stuff. I mean, we complain and we got nothing to complain about compared to them.
Well, as I said in a past broadcast, the Nikon rep, when I bought my Z9 back in early June, he said that he actually believes that by the late fall at the latest, Z9s will be basically purchasable off the shelf. So you'll be able to walk into most stores and just say, "Oh, I'll take that camera right there."
I think right now, when some stores have had Z9 availability, it was probably because people had placed orders in multiple stores, and then they got one from, say, vendor A, and they never called vendor B to cancel the order, so they never got it, or said, I don't need it anymore, I got it from somebody else, and then it frees it up, and then somebody's able to get one. But
well, the way I got mine was really fortuitous. I mean, it was a godsend for me personally, because it was at Unique Photos Photo Expo that they do twice a year in Fairfield, New Jersey. I walked into the expo. It starts on a Friday and it runs through Sunday. I walked into the store first thing Saturday morning, and one of my buddies said, "Did you hear the word?" And I said, "No, what's that?" And he said, "Well, Unique Photo cleared their backlist and back order list of people who had pre-ordered the Z9, and the Nikon East Coast rep had gotten them unallocated 5 cameras. And by the time I heard that message, 2 of them had been sold. I walked up to the rep and I said, "Can I buy one?" And he says, "Yeah, it'll be here Tuesday." I walked over, I took out my credit card, and I bought it right on the spot. So when people say, "How long did you let," when Chuck and I and Ted were in B&H the first time, the guy that we were chatting with, who you saw on the video, a guy named Jerry, he said, "How long, Paul, did you have to wait for the camera?" I said, I didn't wait at all. I'm not NPS. It was a classic example of right place, right time. And, God was smiling at me that week and that month. And, it was just one of those things. If I knew I'd kick myself physically and mentally if I didn't do it. So out came the old plastic card, and, I bought the camera right on the spot.
Gustavo is saying pre-capture is good capturing lightning and offshore storms. Yeah, I just wish that the pre-capture option gets a firmware update so that it works with RAW files instead of just the JPEGs, because I don't really shoot JPEG very often.
I shoot both, mostly JPEG, but I shoot both. So I've got a lot of RAW photos that will never see the light of day probably. But, and I'm going to make that t-shirt. I shoot JPEGs only. Just to rub salt.
You know what? One thing I'd like to do, and I know it's really expensive, but I saw it advertised. I want one really large memory card, and Nikon has a 660 gigabyte card out, and I think it's 15 or 1600 megabytes per second. And I want to buy that card. My largest card right now is a 256. But I really want to have one huge card. Obviously, you run the risk of a bigger card getting corrupted, but I've never had a card corrupted. And,
I just wouldn't buy the one from Nikon. It's way overpriced. You could buy a Delkin.
I haven't seen a Delkin anywhere near that size though.
Or cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Has anybody seen a Delkin that's 660 gigabytes?
More. Delkin's already making 2 terabyte cards.
Yeah, you can get one. You can get one as big or bigger.
They got a 512. I don't know about.
But the Nikon's just charging at least a couple $100 more than they should be for that card.
Well, Nikon's not making that card. Somebody's making it for them, and they're just branding it Nikon.
Well, yeah, they're marking it up because of their name, but I mean, I'm not gonna pay extra just because it has Nikon.
Hey, Roy, I caught your comment there. The 4.5's in stock, but the 800's still on special order. So I know a lot of people. That's in Australia, of course, but a lot of people are looking for it still, I guess. Here.
The thing is, the stores around here, I'm looking at Rakesh's comment. The stores I've been in, when I physically walk into them, I don't see cards as big as what we're discussing right now hanging on the wall.
I don't ever go to the store to look for them. I just go to the sites and look for them.
Well, I live close enough to 3 different stores because I'm
okay.
I'm involuntarily assigned to the leisure class, Chuck. So I go and I drive around aimlessly, and I find myself pulling into photography stores, and I claw at the door so they open up for me, and then I go in and I look, and my tongue hangs out, and I drool on myself because I don't have enough money to buy everything in the store. So, but I do want one really huge memory card, at least one. If you ever go to Unique Photo, Chuck, someday when you're leaving the store, look at the scratch marks on the outer glass doors. Those will be from me.
Delkin Black does have a 650, and it's $724.
That's almost as much as the Nikon card. I think the Nikon card's like $770. So there's not a whole lot of difference between the two.
And this is a 1725 read and 1530 write.
Right.
I don't know anything about them, but Sabrent has a 1 terabyte Rocket CFX Express Type B memory card that's 1 terabyte for $429. Wise has a 1 terabyte CFX B card for $599, and the read write speeds, it doesn't give the sustained speed, but the read write speeds are fine. But I don't know what no, it has a minimum write speed of 400. The Wise does.
Rakesh posted, if you do not need high speed, then you can buy an Angelbird 512 gigabyte for $179. When you're using a Z9, Rakesh, you want the highest speed possible.
Well, if you're going to do a lot of constant long burst, yeah, you do. But it'll do the 20 frames per second with no problem. It's just not going to do it for 15 seconds.
They must be having a card made by ProGrade, because ProGrade has their Cobalt memory card, which was one of the recommended cards from Nikon with the 650 gigabyte for $769.
Hey, Paul, this is a Angelbird 512, and it's the SE version, and it does 4K video, 8K. It shoots plenty fast, just as fast as anything else. It works perfect. And it's an Angelbird. That's what I shoot.
Do you shoot both of those in a D850 or a Z9 back to back?
Z9 back to back.
So you got one in each slot then, right?
Yeah. That's the one I use. And it works. It works perfectly.
If I'm wrong. We don't have the issue with the Z9 that we've had with others by having a slower card, unless you're writing to both cards. As long as you're writing to the fast card only, you don't have to worry about it.
Jonathan De La Rosa said, I bought Angelbird SE cards and they work for 20 minutes. Thankfully, I returned them. He must have had problems with them.
He definitely had some bad ones, because I've had these from the get-go and they've been fine.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem with CF Express cards, is there's so many different views. People have had problems with all of them. The fewest problems, I think, is just like, I think it was Roy that said it, Delkin seemed to be the least prone to problems. I'm not saying they're without any complaints, but the least prone.
I've got Delkin Blacks as well, and they've
that's what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chuck, what size are you shooting in your Z9?
128 gig.
All right, because my second card slot, because I had a bunch of XQDs for the D850. My second card slot is XQD. I'm going to start replacing those with CF Express.
Yeah.
Now you will lose speed if you have an XQD in there and you're writing simultaneously.
Yeah.
I use the Pro grade, and I just have two 325 gigabyte cards. And I have, the same 325 gig in each slot. And I shoot a fair amount of video and take a lot of pictures. I mean, thousands of pictures, a lot of, 2-3 minute video clips. And I don't come anywhere near close to filling those cards. I mean, you get something that's in the 600 range, unless you're getting crazy with video for, hours.
The reason for the large cards is video, period.
Yeah, but you got to be shooting a lot of video, because I never come close to filling my.
You shoot 8K and it goes by real quick, but you're right. 4K 60 eats a lot of a card up too.
I mean, I shoot 4K 120, and I got plenty of. I never get close to filling it.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'll go along with that. Depending on
8K is a whole different ball game, and I don't plan on ever going there.
But yeah, and I understand now, because I have to correct myself here. You're not shooting ProRes or anything else.
Correct.
Yeah, when you shoot ProRes, then watch it go up.
Yeah.
Try RAW. I don't even want to begin to think what RAW eats up. I haven't shot any in RAW, only because I have no way to process it.
Well, I'm shooting my stills in RAW, and I don't do video. So the video component of the Z9 is, for Paul Connors, is a waste, but I mean, it's there.
I don't know how many photos you get at 128 gig. I haven't even come close to filling a card shooting, several bursts, this, that, and whatever. I don't know how many thousand photos you get at 128 gigs, and that's shooting.
I can tell you right now, I have a 256 as my primary card, and a 128 is the secondary card.
Yeah.
And on the primary card, it's 3,400 photos at RAW.
4K in RAW. That's what I shoot in on that that Angel Bird card. It only gives you 18 minutes on that card at 512.
There you go.
That's all you get in RAW.
There you go.
It's not a lot of time.
No,
it's not.
Very few people need to shoot in RAW, though.
No, and I don't always shoot in RAW, but when you do, you don't get very much.
That's when you're buying those 1 terabyte cards.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah.
When I return to the productive working class, though, I may buy one of those just to say I have one, and so I don't ever run the risk of running out of cards.
Now, if I were still shooting motocross, then I would have some larger cards, yes, because I would be compelled to get on the the pull through trigger, 2,000 or 4,000 rounds per second. Paul knows what I'm talking about, but
Roger that, Chief.
But since I'm not, I just don't find myself, if I'm just going out to shoot or whatever, I can't imagine how much, having just going out for a walk around, having 5,000 photos.
Well, speaking of walk around, I'm going to change the topic a little bit here. I was talking to people today, and I was saying what my next lens purchase was probably going to be. And I said it's going to be the 24 to 120 f4. And the guy asked me about it, and he says, "Why are you doing that?" Because he looked at my Z9 and he says, "What's that lens on there?" I said, "Well, first of all, it's a piece of F-mount glass. It's the Tamron 35 to 150 f2.8 to 4." I said, "And this is a pretty heavy combination." And I said, for an everyday walk around lens, which is what I'm using it for now, I want something a little lighter and a little more balanced on the camera. I said, obviously, if you had a smaller Z body than what I have around my neck at the moment, it would even be more unbalanced than it is with the Z9 body. I said, so I want my everyday walk around lens to be 24 to 120. And the guy looked at me and he goes, "Well, you have a better lens now." I said, "No, I don't think I do. I have a bigger lens. I have a heavier lens. It's not as wide on the wide end, and yes, it's longer on the long end. But this was a lens that was designed for an F-mount body."
Thanks, David. I was waiting to get to that.
So
we can't forget we got chatters over here that we have
Yeah.
to continue to monitor, gentlemen. But go ahead, Paul.
So, one of the things for me, because I never had one of the lower Z mount body cameras, I went right from the 750 and the 850 to the Z9. I've got a ton of F-mount glass, and I'm not listening to what Jerry Guion has said in a class I took with him, where he says, dump all your F-mount bodies and all your F-mount glass because you're not going to get any money from it if you don't do it soon. I still shoot film. And I need those F-mount lenses. But now that I've moved into the mirrorless world, and I'm going to do it in parallel, I'm going to start buying Z-mount glass.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that the lens technology of those Z-mount lenses, especially the Nikon lenses, for the most part, the lenses are superior to the F-mount glass because the light doesn't bounce around inside before it gets to the sensor like it does with F-mount glass.
Yeah, going back to the software thing, DaVinci Resolve is I don't know if it's the only software package, but there might only be two software. I know Final Cut Pro.
There's only one right now that can handle NRAW, and that's DaVinci Resolve, unless something's happened over the last week or so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it has. I think they're still the only ones.
Yeah.
And I don't know DaVinci Resolve, and I refuse to sit down and learn it right now. I will eventually.
I don't plan on learning anything different than what I have, which I still haven't learned.
They all operate fairly similar. Like I've used Adobe Premiere as well, and it's similar. It doesn't take long to switch between them.
Right.
Is DaVinci Raw sold on a subscription basis, or can you buy it and have a perpetual license for it?
You just buy it. Yeah, you can do both. You can buy it, but I think you can do a subscription based on it, where it keeps you updated anyway.
It'll spit at you when you first open it up, like any NLE that's out there. And Premiere Pro, forget that. For me, I got it. This is way back when, and I just got fed up with it.
Yeah, I like DaVinci. It's really easy to use and works, and it's fast. I mean, obviously, the better computer you have, better video card you had, if you have it, scrubbing through your video is effortless.
Yeah.
And I'm on a PC. If you run a the new M1 chips or the Mac Studios and all that stuff, I'm sure it runs great on there as well.
Hey, I've had it up here for a while. Millerad's other photo that he just sent me a few minutes ago anyway, showing more of the bay. So wider shot here.
Yeah.
As much as I like it, I like the other one better for some reason. I don't know. It's more interstellar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's Gustavo talking about I'm on the cheap here. And that's most of us, I think a lot of us feel that way about.
I thought we mutually agreed not to use the word cheap. I thought we were going to use the term less expensive.
No, I corrected myself and said I'm not woke. I'll use what I want. So there you go. Here's the explanation for it. Photo was taken from the beach, very low tide, exposed rocks, corals, and due to the lights on the beach, they look yellow. Wow. Okay.
You know why? It looks like he's almost got a combination of a lens with night vision goggles attached, Chuck.
Yeah. 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 Roy likes the environment. I'll buy that too, Roy. There's just something about the other one. That interstellar feeling.
Yeah. The other one with all that green up in the, Milky Way. That's what that draws me into it.
Yeah. But still beautiful photo.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Very crisp too, by the way. Wow,
Yep.
look at the
Wow.
nets.
Yeah.
Very nice, Millerad. Very nice, man. Where's my? Here we go. Back to. Here we go. All right. Oh, wait a minute.
You're in there twice.
There we go. All right. All right, gentlemen. I had a good time tonight. I don't know how much time I'm going to hang around here, but if anybody's got any other topics or anything they want to chat about, obviously bring it up now or forever hold your peace.
I'd like to take a survey. How many people think I might make it alive through my round of golf tomorrow?
Yeah. You may want to wear a helmet.
They took my K-pot away when I retired, Chuck.
Yeah. Well, that's why you got to just go buy a helmet, man. But I wouldn't suggest a full face helmet, man. Just go buy one of those good old 60s Bell helmets.
Well, I still have my steel pot from my days when I was in the 82nd. Maybe I'll wear that. I got the jungle camo cover on it too.
There you go. All right. You can always take it apart and shave, man.
That's right. Take the helmet liner out and shave in the steel pot.
Yep.
That brings back too many bad memories, Chuck.
Yeah. Actually, it brings back a lot of good memories for me, but, I digress.
I remember cooking scrambled eggs in my helmet one time over a fire.
Makes great pancakes, too.
The guys who didn't have the pleasure of wearing that steel thing on your head, making your neck muscles work, you'll never know how. That's the one bad thing about the K-pot. You couldn't take it apart and cook in it. You couldn't really bathe in it. You couldn't shave in it. Steel pot was great for that.
All right. There you go. There's your military history for the night. We've covered the P-40 disguised as a P-51 and steel pots.
And K-pots. We will not discuss meals rejected by everyone on this episode.
Yeah. I am using the 14-30 Z lens for my streaming on the Z6. Greg, works out real well. Yeah, there's a little distortion in it, but then again, I don't care. It works fine for what I'm doing. I'm in a very cramped space, right up next to the wall. So I'm touching the lens hood right now. That's how close that camera is to me. The lens is to me.
And are you at 14 with it?
Where are we at right now? Not quite 14. We're at about 18.
Oh, okay.
So let me just see here. Let's go to the narrow end at 30. Here's 30 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Let's back all the way out to 14. So there's 14. Not much difference between that and 18 or so. I just try to pull it in till I get the screen, the other screen in the corner there.
Chuck, that's the lens that I told you about. Julian Baird, the Scottish landscape photographer who lives in Devonshire, England. He swears by that lens for his landscape photography.
Yeah, it's a great lens. That's why I have no desire to buy the 14-24. I don't use this. I don't use wide angle or ultra wide angle very often. And thanks, Greg. I need something to make me look great. But Roy just said, I like ultra wide distortion and sometimes even fisheye. I agree with you from time to time. And that's what it is. More creativity than anything for me, Roy. 24 millimeter typically is wide enough for just about everything I'm doing. But in this case, this is a great lens because I can set the camera right up on the desk here with me. So, David, I hope that is even if that's DX 11-20, that would be perfect for what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm really interested like I said, this little 16-55 kit lens works perfect for this, but to get that little faster aperture on that 11 to 20?
11-20, yeah.
Yeah, 11-20, yeah.
And yeah, with that firmware update for the Z6, I got to tell you, the autofocus works extremely well in the Z6 now. At least I'm happy with it for what I'm doing. But yeah, the focus on this lens is fantastic. I mean, just bam, it's just spot on. But then again, ultra wide's a little easier to get away with that. But in video, and I shouldn't say I'm extremely happy with the AF, because the only thing I've done with the Z6 is this. So it's all been video autofocus, and it does a great job, I think.
Is that the camera you had when you were when we were with you at B&H?
No, I had the. So let's see what we can get here. Maybe I hide my face. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it works real well. I'm happy with it for this.
Yeah, they have that Tamron 11 to 20 for a Sony E mount. It's $649. It'd be interesting to see what the Z mount version will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have it on.
I'll bet it'll be competitive.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will.
Greg, I have it on a small camera stand or tripod, tabletop tripod. Not one of the flaky little things. It's actually a decent tripod. I think I don't know who makes it. Oben, I think. Now I'm not going to tell you that the wind, a hard gust of wind wouldn't fall over with a hard gust of wind. Yeah, it would, but for a tabletop, it works real well. I've got another one I'll be carrying with me when I take off here in a week or so, week and a half, and start traveling. I'm going to take my Elgato 4 cam or cam link 4 or 4 cam link. I don't remember. Let me grab it right quick. I'm going to be using that to actually do the stream.
That's what I use that's what my Z30 is going through, is the Elgato capture card.
Yeah, and I don't have it handy. I've got to dig it all out and get it ready to go. Yeah, this is just a plug and play. I want to say it's USB even, but you plug the. Well, you know what? Let me just find it real quick, and rather than lie to you.
Yeah, Elgato makes great capture cards and USB devices. I'm curious to see which one he's got.
Come on,
Jeffrey, what are you using?
I'm just using the camera on my Mac Studio. That's it.
It looks good.
Yeah, it does.
There's no need for me to set up. I don't have any room to set up anything else anyway, so this is what I got.
Yeah, this is the camera in my computer, my PC. But I'm looking at it and I can see how noisy it is.
Oh, that Mac shot is clear, Jeffrey.
I mean, it works. I mean, I've never even tried to hook up a camera to my computer for a streaming thing, to be honest with you. So,
what mic are you using?
I have a USB powered M Audio Uber mic, it's called.
This sounds good.
Jeffrey, Roy Bixby comments, your self batteries have died again.
Yes, they will not. they cannot last this entire show. I mean, unless I sit on a bicycle and I pedal and generate the power for those lights, they're going to always be going off.
I think you should sue the manufacturer.
Did you say they're USB-C rechargeable?
Yeah.
Where'd you get them at?
Home Depot.
Yeah. Can you plug them in and leave them plugged in and operate them?
I haven't really tried that. I mean, I have a power bank, but my power bank's only going to be able to do 2 lights at a time. Only has 2 cables.
Greg, Greg, yeah, this is kind of the start of the studio down here. There's a 400 f4.5, 500 PF, and then 70 to 200, 24 to 120, 24 to 70 back there. Two Z9.
Chuck's toy.
Yeah, it's a cam link. Yeah. There, Greg, there's a plethora of stuff behind me.
USB.
No, actually it isn't. I was wrong. So it is HDMI.
HDMI to USB, right?
Yeah. So, well, no, USB. I'm sorry, you're correct. USB into the computer
and
HDMI from the cam link to your camera. So you can buy whichever size HDMI cable. You need the full HDMI for the cam link, but then you can buy whatever HDMI size you need for your camera, and that's it. So, and you can get really creative with it, but I mean, the simple factor is just plug your microphone into the camera, your external mic, and you've got a run and gun setup for streaming on the go. As long as you've got Wi-Fi, it works real well.
So what was the camera you used when we met you at B&H, Chuck?
Z6 II.
Oh, the Z6 II. Okay.
Yep. Greg, it allows you to stream it rather than having a streaming card or a card in your computer or anything external. You can actually, the only problem with it is you can't have guests like we do. Well, you know what? I haven't tried that. Maybe since this goes through the browser, I can do that as well. But it just converts the signal from the computer or from the camera into the computer so that you can stream with your camera, external camera, rather than using, the camera in the laptop or whatever, up to 4K, which is really nice. So I was going to give it a run here in the next day or two, because we're getting ready to go here in a week and a half or something like that. I want to make sure everything's up and running before I go. And I'll just take my little external mic, my little ME1 Nikon mic. I stick it right on top of the camera because the camera is close enough to me that it actually works. It works pretty well. It won't be the same audio that I get out of the Rodecaster Pro with the NT1A, but it's adequate. It works well enough. And again, simple setup. Set it up and go. And use it on the road.
What's your mic going? What's your mic going through, Chuck?
A Rodecaster Pro.
That's your mic, and then it's going.
Yeah, you can see the Rodecaster Pro over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
And so I'm going through that. Then that feeds the ATEM Mini Pro, which is the streaming switcher that I have set up. That's just so I can run all these peripherals. Yeah. And don't ask me how I've got it wired right now. That was trial and error for an entire day trying to connect everything. But then the audio goes from the ATEM Mini Pro, believe it or not, into the, let's see if I got it running there. Yeah, into the camera. Mm-hmm. I think it's, no, I don't have it that way. I can't tell you how I'm running the audio right now. I'm sorry. Audio from the camera to the ATEM Mini Pro into the Rodecaster Pro.
Gotcha. Greg, Greg Wilson's asking what's needed to live stream on the cheap. It doesn't take much. If you want to, like if you just wanted to join this stream, like Jeffrey's just using his webcam on his laptop, I think. And Paul's using his laptop webcam. It doesn't take a lot.
Nope.
Yeah, but I will say, compared to Jeffrey, I'm looking at my own image and it's a lot noisier than Jeffrey's is.
Yeah, the PC laptops. I don't know what laptop you have or how old it is, but
No, it's brand new, actually. It's an HP Envy X360. I just bought it.
Really? Yeah,
It's got an Intel Core i7 processor.
You know, a lot of it could be your lighting. Maybe, you know, Jeffrey's lit up pretty well, which helps. Might just be your lighting.
Absolutely.
Well, I took the lamp down that was growing out of my head that a couple of people commented on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I took that out of the picture.
I bet your camera would look much better if you had some lighting on you.
No,
Well,
you're
then it would
absolutely
look
right.
like it comes out of the top of my head. So I'm going to have to find a way to move that 6-foot lamp.
So David says he uses D850, and I have done that as well. With my D850, with the D5, I have used them. The problem is the AF in video
Yeah.
and F mount lenses. Clack, 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 clack,
Yeah.
clack, 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 clack.
You can hear them.
Searching. You know, it's always hunting for focus, which is one of the things I like about the mirrorless. They you know, in the mirrorless cameras, you don't get that, and I found it to be you know, a great deal for video and for vlogging or for streaming or whatever. You've got to fix the focus, and you can't move.
Yeah. Yep.
If you're trying to use autofocus, again, you can't move once it locks on, and even then, it will hunt from time to time.
That's what's great about this little Z30. It's so tiny, doesn't take up any space, and you can run it through USB port and stream with it and have good picture quality, and it autofocuses, stays on you.
Yeah.
It's really a nice little setup for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roy Bixby comments the D850 is a great camera, but mirrorless does it much better. Well, that a truer statement has never been uttered. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that was the reason I was so ready to go to mirrorless. Once I saw what was going on in the mirrorless community, and I thought, man, you know, if they could make DSLRs do that, I'd be happy for a long time. But it just wasn't to be done. So with the Z6, you know, I finally found the camera that I need for doing this. It may be a little expensive for just streaming, but it was my first mirrorless. And, you know, I then got the Z6 II and of course the Z9 now. But I think that Z30, I'm beginning to see the light, man. You know, for what it costs, it's a great entry level streaming camera. And when I say entry level, I mean, because that's what it is, entry level camera, but it's great for streaming, doing all this kind of streaming. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And everybody's
I've got it,
showing
and
how to
I've got
work
it
well.
set in, I've just got it set in 1080p 30. If you can run it in 4K, but after about an hour and 20 minutes in 4K, it'll get too hot and shut off on you.
Yeah.
So at 1080 30, you can run it all night long, no problems. Yep. And I think they actually say that for streaming, if you look at their literature, to shoot it in 1080.
Is that specific to the Z30?
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple of the stores I deal with in New Jersey, they got their initial allocation. Once again, another Nikon supply chain issue. Sold them all out. And yeah, I was at Unique Photo when they came in, and I saw 5 of them go out of the door in like a 20-minute span of time. The Nikon rep, that was the day that the Nikon East Coast rep had been in Unique Photo to do all the updates for the Z bodies, regardless of which Z body you had. So he was doing all the updates for all of them. And it coincided with the release and the ability of the stores to sell the Z30s. And while he was doing updates, people would walk up to him, "Do you guys have the Z30?" And I stood there waiting in line to get my Z9 updated. And, you know, he took 5 of them off the shelf and handed them people that went over to the cashier and paid for them.
Yeah.
And that was less than 30 minutes.
That's the way to do it, David. Go ahead.
I tell you what, I put the 400 f4.5 on the Z30 the other day, and man, other than having to hold it and look at the screen to shoot, it works great. with that 400 4.5 on it.
Yeah.
So you're at, it's actually effective 600 millimeter focal length.
I'm tempted to buy one, even though I don't do video.
It takes great pictures. It's really nice. My eyes just aren't as good as they used to be, so I can't sit there and look at the back of the screen and take photos.
Just so you guys know, I'm in trouble tonight because I haven't said anything about likes and subscription. So I'll hear about it tomorrow.
Not from us, you won't.
And we should. I should have said it so long ago, and we had so many people that were still in the stream watching. But yeah, let me take that moment and just say, if you enjoy what we do, and you're in here, whether you subscribe or not, I'd appreciate a like, only because it motivates me. It truly does. And if you really like it and you want to become part of the community, then subscribe, and you'll get the reminders that come out for each live stream. But even if you don't see the reminder, it's always on a Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern time and on a Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And if there's any change to that, I'll put it out ahead of time. And there could be coming up here when I travel. I'll be traveling for 2 weeks, but I'm going to try to keep to the schedule. I know I'm going to miss one Saturday night coming up in that period, and I'll let everybody know whether I do it on the night before or the day after or something like that. You'll get notified, but I want to keep it up because everybody gets used to it. I want to be regular on YouTube so that people don't have to wait for the reminder. It's coming on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So if you like it and you like to be part of our community, and I don't care what you shoot, it doesn't matter to us. Yes, we are Nikon centric, but we will talk about other brands, and anybody wants to come in here and talk about it. And if there is news with other brands, we'll talk about it, not just the bad things. I do that about Nikon. So, but yeah, I hope you join us. And if that's too much to ask, then I just appreciate people dropping in and from time to time and watching the show. Would love to have your comments. This is where you get to talk about what you want to talk about, share your opinions, ask questions. A lot of smart people in the chat room or up here in the audience, myself excluded, and ask away. There's always somebody that can answer your question. So, all right, that's my public service announcement, and I'm in trouble. This is the only one I did tonight. Mama will have a fit. And but anyway, thanks for letting me say that right now. Rich in here. Oh man, Rich had a long week. Thanks for that, Greg. I appreciate you plopping up there and reminding me of that.
Hey, Chuck, I'd like to say something about the nomenclature. If there were mislabelings, I apologize for that. But I'm basically putting out what I was provided. So
you don't have to apologize for it, Paul. Quit, man. Bottom line is,
worry about it.
Yeah. Bottom line is, we just getting the focal lengths of those lenses is a big deal. I did not know that he had posted those on Nikon Rumors, and I actually looked yesterday. I thought after I talked to Paul last night or yesterday, whatever it was. All right.
Well, what I thought was the most significant thing, Chuck, in addition to the actual focal lengths and the number of lenses, was the fact that basically Nikon admitted that it takes too long to manufacture and rebrand under the Nikon brand.
Makes sense.
They just turned Tamron loose, get these things out into the market. We're not even going to attempt to rebrand them and put Nikon barrels on them so that they don't look like Tamron lenses.
Makes sense. Makes sense. It's just simple to do. And I mean, Nikon's not losing anything by doing that. I think it's fantastic. Speeds up the process. Let Tamron have a little piece of the pie too. Everybody's happy.
I'm a big believer that the more lenses that are available, the more cameras are going to get sold, because you give people choices, they're going to use the choices that are available to them. If you don't
just
have
look
choices,
at what's going on out in the community right now. I mean, everybody's been complaining about lenses. And then after you complain about not having enough lenses, then we start complaining about how much they cost and, yada, yada, yada. So it's all good. I mean, it's a good deal. And there are a couple of those lenses that I'm just curious to see what happens with them. You know, how good are they and whatever. I don't typically buy a third party, but you never know. You know, there could be something come along and wow me. And it's like, wow, you know, $5,000 or $3,000 cheaper, and I can have something that's good enough. I'm happy.
Well, like I said, my next Z mount lens purchase is going to be the 24 to 120 for the reasons I stated earlier. So it's
good lens.
It's a very good lens.
And, you know, I had somebody ask me rhetorically, why are you buying that particular lens as opposed to any of the others? And I said, because from a practical standpoint, it's a very good walking around everyday lens.
It is.
You know, so if you have to question the rationality behind that comment, then I can't help you. You know, it's for me personally, it's my next logical purchase. And because it has a purpose, I don't buy lenses that I don't think I need. And I don't think any other photographer, regardless of brand, should do that. So, you know, it's the same reason why I don't bash other manufacturers' products, because I don't know enough. I've never used them. B, I don't know enough about them. And C, you know what? You can still get good photos out of a Brownie camera.
Yeah, we can still, you know, you're absolutely right, Paul. And I mean, you're buying the 24 to 120 for your reasons. And again, you know, when people want to try to convince me otherwise, when I go down that path, okay, I'm buying it because I want it. That's it. How are you going to argue with that?
Well, I have another logical reason for why I'm doing it. I'm going to buy it at Unique Photo here in New Jersey.
You don't always need a logical reason. That's what I'm getting at. You know, I'm not arguing with people over nitnoid crap that I'm not convincing them of anything. I'm not into the re-education thing. I'm not re-educating anybody on anything. If they can't accept what I say in the beginning and then it becomes they just want to convince me otherwise, okay, I'm getting it because I want it. How are you going to argue that?
Well, that's why. That's why when I spoke to you yesterday, when I told you that Ted, after he bought a D3S, right? And I think I said this earlier tonight. I said, Ted, why did you buy that? He goes, because I wanted to. And
there you go.
That should be enough.
That's it.
End of discussion, right?
Yeah.
Again, the other reason I'm buying the 24 to 120 next, for me, it's a good everyday walking. I understand. But I'm buying it at Unique Photo in New Jersey. You know why I'm justifying that?
You're getting a better deal because you have credit there.
Yeah, because they have almost $400 of credit at that.
There you go. Got it. Yeah.
So now my $1,100 lens is like $750.
There you go, man. That's a good deal.
I can tell you, Paul, you will not be disappointed in it either. I don't know if you've ever tested one or shot one yet, but
I tested it at Chuck and I have started calling B&H Photo Bravo Hotel. So I tested it at Bravo Hotel the last time I was there with Ted and with Albert.
Good to see you, Jeff.
You know what? I'm gonna call it a night, guys.
All right, brother.
I'm dropping out too much here, and I got to get up early to go take some pictures. So I'm gonna call it a night.
Well, I got to play golf tomorrow.
All right.
So say good night to the audience and thank them for their
take care, Jeff.
Great photos from everybody tonight. And
absolutely,
it was a pleasure.
I'm not far behind you here, Jeff.
And I will see you guys another day.
Thanks for being in here, Jeff.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Yeah.
Thank you, John, and thank you, David, for your comments on the wisdom of my purchasing decision.
Here's Mr. Ted. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're well, man.
Hey, Ted, tell us about your new D3S.
We're about done, Ted. I know you were busy with, I'm sure, doing things that you need to do. Millerad's taken off. Thanks, Millerad, for being in. Thanks for sharing your photos. Really enjoyed it. Again, 1 October, I think that's first Saturday in October. That'll be our next photo review. So there you go, buddy. Hope to see you in the regular streams.
Great job on your photos, Millerad. Thank you for submitting them.
Absolutely. Gustavo's talking about Tom Hogan. Put together a couple good tables with all the mirrorless lenses, zooms, including Tamron and Sigma. Cool. I have to check it out, Gustavo. I don't check him out all that often. I don't have anything against Tom, but I just find it a little like yawn sometimes. Wife has noticed I'm gone. Don't I know that feeling? All right, Roy, thanks for being in here as always, Roy. Really enjoyed you in here again tonight. Love having all the experience there. You can answer so many questions and so many different things. Appreciate it. All right.
Take care, Roy.
David's talking to us. He's got his D810 outside shooting the Aurora. Way to go. Oh, man. All right, gentlemen. I'm about ready to wrap it up myself. Hey, Ted, sorry about that, man. We've been going pretty strong. We loved your photo. Thank you very much for your submission. Wish you'd have been in here to talk about it. But another day, another time, brother.
I will call him tomorrow and chastise him for being late.
There you go. Albert Jimenez, you may turn into a fanboy. Brand loyalty may turn you into a fanboy, but camera manufacturers don't give a damn about you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're there to make money, Albert, and I understand that. I understand that all too well. Absolutely.
Yeah, but Albert, come on, let's face it, dude. You are Mr. Brand agnostic. You with all those adapters you have and all that lens collection you have, nobody's ever going to accuse you of being a fanboy, Albert.
Yeah.
You ought to see the collection of lenses and adapters, David, that this guy's got. I mean,
yeah,
he could fill Encyclopedia Britannica with the information.
We're going to get him on the show here for one of the live streams and let him go through. Here's the thing about Mr. Albert. If you guys have any questions about adapters, Albert's the adapter mechanic. He has how many adapters do you have now, Albert? I don't know. It seems like you told me you had like 40 or something.
I think it's over 50, Chuck.
Albert is the man. If you want to know about adapting some piece of glass to some camera, Albert is the guy to ask, and he can point you in the right direction. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
By the way, Chuck, Albert swears by Viltrox lenses. He was trying to convince me when we were at Bravo Hotel last time. He goes, Paul, don't buy the Nikon 24. Buy the Viltrox 24 for your Z9. It's just as good and half the price.
I always appreciate recommendations.
No, I don't particularly have a need for 24, but Albert was raving about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy a 24 prime myself. I just don't have a need for it, which equates to I don't want one. Again though, I'm a different kind of person. I'm not shooting commercially, like I've said so many times before. I seem to make do with my zoom lenses. I'm happy with them. In the event that there are very few primes that I really care to even play with. One might be the 85 1.2 when it comes out, but I'll wait and see. All right.
Hey, Albert, if you're still on, give me a call tomorrow if you would, please. You have my number.
All right, gentlemen. If nobody has anything else, I think it's about time to wrap it up. I don't have Mozman in here because Mozman wouldn't let me go. I guess we wore Greg Wilson out tonight. Oh, man.
No, he's still around.
No, I'm talking about usually he's got his phone battery. He's talking about he still has 30 or 40% left. All right, guys. I don't see anything else. Hey, I want to thank you guys here being on. Paul, thank you very much for passing that information on last night. And Paul, don't worry about, we got out there what you got, what you received, and that's all that anybody can ask for. The one thing that everybody knows is that at least you have reps that are talking about this. So not that we didn't know it was coming, but now there it is in black and white. And I look forward to seeing what Peter on NR has to say about how we may have gotten some DX FX things wrong. I don't know that we did, but that's fine if we did. And I look forward to him, correcting us and, making himself look better, because that's coming, because he doesn't believe in any new cameras from Nikon because there are no leaks from his sources. Well, maybe his sources have dried up, and woe be him if that is the case and Nikon it shuts down all the sources. Then I don't know what it becomes. It truly becomes Nikon rumors, because that's all that'll be available.
Yeah.
So, and
maybe if that ever happens, maybe they should change the name to Nikon Baseless Rumors, because
but we could say the same thing about me. I had somebody ask me in a comment, what makes me so confident in what I'm saying? It's just me, what I see, what I think, putting all the pieces together, coming up with a plan, but I can't nail it down to the last digit. I don't know how it's all going to break out. But the one thing I'm still confident in is there's a camera coming in October, and we'll just wait and see what it is. But I'm not going to, I need to do an op-ed piece over there on Nikon Rumors about why kill the joy of people that just want to talk and dream.
Yeah.
Why? Is it hurting anybody? No. I know it's hurting. It's hurting, exposure over there, because he wants the exclusive. And I've been a follower of Nikon Rumors for a long time. Don't mean to badmouth Peter, but he's been on this defense lately where he just wants to mock everybody. Where's the camera? It's August came and went. Well, who you talking to? It's not me, because I didn't say August. So anyway.
There's one thing that people should, and I'm sure everybody on this who watches this live stream and others, to include some of the people we don't necessarily care for, but the vast majority of people in America are not photographers. Those of us who are dedicated to this, to the art and the science of it, and quite frankly, to the mechanics and the technology of it, we're the ones who pay attention to this stuff. We're the ones who are driving what the manufacturers put out to market. Right. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people saw me using my D750 and thought it was, oh my God, that's really a professional camera. Well, no, not really. It was a prosumer camera, but you have to forgive them their ignorance because they don't know. The same thing is that the average American doesn't care if there's going to be a Z8 or a Z6 III or 7 III. The people who care are the people who are on this live stream, and the other people who are out there in the photographic world.
Right.
They want to know what their manufacturer is going to put in front of them next. Yes. And they love talking about it. It energizes them. It motivates them. It keeps them going, and it keeps them interested. And you know what, Chuck? That's the biggest service you provide here.
Well, it's I do that part for me because I enjoy talking about it. I enjoy looking at, what information is available. And it's kind of like the art of war. We lost the art of war a while back, and we went to the science of war. And the science of war has kicked our butts really bad here in the last few decades. When we lost the art of war can be at times just a gut feeling. Patton worked on, he flew by the seat of his pants. He was an art of war guy. Yeah, he used science, but he was an art of war guy. And when we lost that capability, we took a hit for it. But anyway, the same thing with this. I don't need people from Nikon in the Nikon camp leaking information to me. What I come up with may not be exactly spot on, but I mean, it doesn't take Kreskin to figure it out. Some of the clues are so obvious out there. All you got to do is put the pieces together, and you can put together a pretty good puzzle of what may or may not happen. And right now, the lack of information as far as leaks does not concern me at all. It may concern some people and think, well, because I'm not hearing anything from the likes of Peter. And if anything, he's detrimental to, Nikon marketing himself, because he wants to squash all this and not talk about it until he has some very confident leak to project. And, I'm not going there. I'm not buying into that. And if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But you know what? Nobody committed suicide. Nobody lost their home over it.
It's all just speculation.
Yes,
I mean,
and it's just fun to talk about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Me thinks he takes some of this stuff way too seriously.
Well, it's his business, and I kind of understand that, but maybe in business, maybe it's time to flex a little bit.
Well, you know what they say in the business world, Chuck. Semper Gumby, always flexible, right?
The reason I say that too is because if that rumor or that leak pool is dried up, then I don't know where he's at. What's next for that site? Because it's based on just that. That's it. That's what it's based on. So anyway, we'll see what happens. And I don't hope bad for Peter over there. I just wish he'd quit defending himself and let people speculate, let people breathe and enjoy or whatever. Quit making fun of somebody because they believed a rumor. That's not a way to run the channel or the site. But anyway, who am I to tell him how to run his business? He's done well up to this point. Let's hope he continues to do well. All right. And here's the quote, man. Everybody needs to remember this. I don't need it. I just want it. If you're ever in doubt and trying to decide whether you're going to buy this or that, just repeat that to yourself. I don't need it. I just want it. And it's so easy then to pull the trigger. All right. All right, gentlemen, I appreciate everybody being in here again, as always. Thank you, Paul, for being in there and talking about what you learned and passing that information on. It's in the hands of the people, and now they can take it for what it's worth. And I'm sure we'll get more clarity as the weeks go on.
Oh, yeah.
David, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for restreaming this over on your channels. I hope it helps you out. Yeah. If you lose a bunch of subscribers because of me, well, I'll understand next time. You're not going to restream. But again,
no problem.
Great time tonight. Great time with the chat. And I don't ever want to lose focus. And, I got to remind my panel sometimes that this is for you guys. When we're in here, it's easy for us to get caught up in our own little conversations and forget about the chat. And I don't want that to happen. So you guys need to make sure you remind us from time to time, hey, we're still over here. And, this is the community, and we can't lose sight of the community.
Good night, David Stewart.
Yes, sir. I have to market that. Well, I'd like to. Maybe that's what I need to put on a shirt. I don't need it. I just want it.
There you go.
That actually covers a lot of things, not just photography, doesn't it?
Covers pretty much everything.
Yep. All right, guys. That said, good night to everybody.
Yeah, good night.
God bless you all. I'll see everybody. Let's see. Wednesday. I think Wednesday. Yeah, I think Wednesday's still good. But as I get closer to traveling, I'll let you guys know if I have to change a date or whatever for our live streams, because I get to spend some time with my grandchildren coming up, and I haven't seen them forever. So I can't push them aside for a live stream as much as I feel like I need to. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Again, thanks for everybody being in here. Good night. God bless. See everybody Wednesday. Get out and shoot, myself included. All right.
Good night, everyone. Have a good one.
All the way, Chuck.
All right.